The world outside has already gone quiet. But somewhere deeper beneath the skin, beneath the thoughts, beneath even the breath, you sense an older stillness waiting. You don't need to enter it. You don't need to open any doors. It has been here all along, like a lake hidden beneath winter snow, silent, patient, unchanging. Now all it asks of you is that you stop running, stop fixing, stop reaching. Just lie down. Let your body grow soft. Let your thoughts drift like leaves on water. Let this night carry you without resistance, without memory. This is not a night for solving. This is a night for dissolving. And if you listen closely, not with your ears, but with the space between your thoughts, you may hear it. A whisper, a presence, the beginning of something timeless. So come. There is nowhere to go, but I will walk with you anyway. In silence, in story, in sleep. Let the journey begin not with footsteps, but with stillness. Close your eyes, or leave them half open. It doesn't matter. The mountain doesn't mind whether the sky is watching. And now you begin to fall, not down, but inward, toward the quiet that's been waiting all this time to welcome you home. You begin to fall not as a leaf, not as a stone, but as a thought that has finally stopped trying to be understood. There is no bottom, no destination. Just the gentle unraveling of everything you thought you had to carry. No one is watching, not even you. And in this space, something softer begins to open. Not like a door, but like fog parting without knowing why. You do not have to be still. You do not have to be calm. The stillness is already here. The calm has never left. You only have to stop becoming and simply be. Tonight you will hear Zen stories, but not to entertain the mind, not to feed it answers. These are not stories with endings. They are doorways, whispers, footprints in the snow that fade before you can follow. They are not here to guide you. They are here to help you forget why you needed guidance at all. There will be monks and mountains, silence and wind, empty bowls, smiling strangers, questions that disappear midway through asking, and you will drift among them, not needing to name yourself, not needing to understand. You will dissolve gently like sugar in warm tea. Still here, but no longer separate. And if you listen not with your ears, but with the quiet behind your chest, you'll hear it. Not a voice, not a teaching, just a stillness so deep it finally allows you to rest. So rest. The stories are waiting. The night is listening. And you are ready to begin. You are ready to begin. But this beginning doesn't ask you to go anywhere. It doesn't ask you to rise or to strive or to become. It only asks you to stay exactly as you are unfolded, unwound, untouched. The first story arrives like a breath you didn't notice. Not with sound, but with space. You're walking through a forest just before dawn. The trees are tall and still, and the path beneath your feet is soft, not from moss, but from centuries of monks walking this way in silence. Their footsteps are gone, but the quiet they carried remains. In the clearing ahead, a monk is kneeling before a bowl of water. He doesn't drink. He doesn't wash. He simply waits. You pause. you watch. And in the stillness, you begin to feel something stir. The monk finally speaks not to you, but to the water. If I wait long enough, the mud will settle. The water will become clear again. And I will remember who I am. Then he says nothing more. You stand there watching the surface of the bowl, watching the mud slowly drift downward, not because it was told to, but because that is its nature. No one forced it. No one stirred it. It simply returned to where it came from, and you begin to feel that you too are returning, not to a place, not to a person, but to a quiet that was always beneath the surface. You are not changing, you are remembering, not who you were, but what has never not been. And the story, like the forest, like the monk, like the bowl, asks nothing from you at all. Only that you stay, only that you soften, only that you let the mud settle, only that you let the mud settle. There is no rush, nothing you need to fix, nothing you need to become. Clarity does not arrive through effort, it arrives through stillness. The monk remains in the clearing, and so do you. No words pass between you. But a kind of understanding begins to grow not in your mind, but in your bones. You remember what the Buddha taught: all things arise and pass away. Thoughts, emotions, clouds, rain, pain, desire, even restlessness will pass. Even the need to sleep will dissolve if you simply sit long enough with what is. And so you sit, not as someone trying to meditate, not as someone chasing peace, but as one who has nothing left to chase. The earth beneath you holds you up. The sky above you asks nothing. And the silence in between is the truest home you've ever known. Eventually, the monk rises. He does not speak. He does not bow. He simply walks into the trees and disappears. But you do not feel alone, because now even the trees feel like teachers. Even the path under your feet seems to whisper what the monk left unsaid. Be like the water. Let everything fall away. What is true will remain, and you walk, or maybe you float, or maybe you vanish entirely, folded into the soft breath of the forest, where nothing needs to end because nothing ever began. This is how the first story leaves you, not with an answer, but with a feeling that you are exactly where you were always meant to be. Still, soft, returning home, home, but not the kind with walls, not a place, not a destination waiting for your name. This home is quieter, gentler, not built from bricks or memory, but from the simple act of no longer needing to be anywhere else. The trees part, and another scene begins to form without movement, without announcement. A garden, walled but open to the sky. You walk through the gate and find yourself standing before a monk, tending to a single stone. Not many stones, not a path. Just one resting in the center of a small raked circle, as if it has waited its entire life to be exactly there. The monk is kneeling, holding a broom made from twigs and silence. You expect him to move the stone, to rake the sand beneath it, to rearrange the lines like someone solving a problem. But he doesn't. He simply brushes the space around it, over and over, in perfect, meaningless care. Finally you ask, why not move the stone? He replies, if I move the stone, I am saying it is not enough where it is. but it is. It always was. And you realize you are the stone. You have spent so much time trying to move yourself in thought, in identity, in space. But what if there is nothing wrong with where you are? What if you are already placed perfectly in the center of your own life? What if your only task now is to stop moving, to allow the world to rake itself around you in quiet devotion, not to fix you, not to change you, but simply to remind you that you are enough. Even if you do nothing, even if you never move again, you are enough. And you remain still, centered, unmoved, not out of effort, but because there is nothing left to chase. The monk in the garden does not look up. He does not need to. The air around him carries a kind of knowing that asks for no eyes to see it. You sit beside the stone, not to imitate peace, but because something inside you has grown quiet enough to recognize it. You feel the lines of the raked sand, not with your hands, but with your breath, how they curve gently, without pattern, without destination. The world has a rhythm when you no longer interrupt it. And in this rhythm, you begin to understand something deeper. There is a teaching in Zen called suchness, a word, that points to what simply is beyond thought, beyond judgment. A flower blooms. A leaf falls. The wind brushes your skin. A breath passes through you. No meaning added. No meaning needed. Just this. Just now. Just suchness. You look at the stone again, not as a symbol, not as a metaphor, just as what it is. And it is complete. You too are complete, not because you have finished anything, but because you've stopped breaking yourself into pieces. You no longer ask what comes next. You no longer ask how long until peace arrives. Peace has already sat down beside you, said nothing, asked nothing. And in its silence you recognized yourself, not as an idea, not as a name, but as the quiet in between, the breath before words, the stillness beneath time. So you stay, and the garden stays, and the monk continues brushing a world that no longer needs fixing. And for once you do not need to move, because you have already arrived. You have already arrived, and without knowing when you've forgotten to search. Not because the path ended, but because it slowly dissolved beneath your feet. There is no journey now, only presence. Only this. The garden fades not abruptly, but like a dream that leaves no trace. And now you are walking down a narrow stone path at the edge of a quiet mountain. Mist curls around the stones. The air smells like cedar and ash, and ahead, a wooden tea house waits with a single candle glowing just behind its door. You enter without knocking. The candlelight flickers, but does not falter. And seated inside, a woman in gray robes pours tea. She does not look at you. She does not speak. She simply places a cup in front of you and waits. The tea is warm, fragrant. Steam rises, but you do not drink yet. You watch it. The tiny circles disappearing on the surface. The way the warmth seems to soften the silence. And finally you ask, is this tea a lesson? The woman smiles, not in amusement, but in recognition. Then she says, no. But your waiting for a lesson is the lesson. You sit back and breathe. Yes, you see it now. Not everything is a sign. Not every moment is a symbol. Some things simply are. A cup of tea, a breath of mist, a quiet evening without meaning. The Buddha once said, "Things are just as they are." The world is neither good nor bad, it simply is. And in this moment you allow the tea to simply be tea, the silence to simply be silence, and yourself to simply be. There is no more trying, no more interpreting, no more folding experience into something useful. Everything is enough, just as it is, just as you are. Right here in the steam rising from this quiet cup of tea. In the steam rising from this quiet cup of tea, you see everything. Not with your eyes, but with that deeper kind of seeing that has no direction, no beginning, no need. You drink slowly, but not for ritual, not for stillness, only because your hands knew what to do before your mind arrived. The tea is neither sweet nor bitter. It simply exists. And in its warmth, you remember how to stop naming things in order to understand them. There is a teaching in Zen that says the finger pointing to the moon is not the moon. And now you understand. You've spent your whole life looking at the finger. Ideas, labels, the constant trying to explain what cannot be explained. But this tea, this breath, this moment, it does not point. It simply is. And the part of you that needed everything to mean something grows quiet, as if it too has found peace in not knowing. The woman in gray finishes her tea and begins to sweep the floor, grains of dust softly catching candlelight before they're brushed into the still air. You watch her and realize she is not cleaning. She is simply moving. Because in Zen, even movement is stillness when it comes from presence. There is no ceremony here, no lesson to pass down, only life as it is. No past, no future. Just this so simple, so whole, that it requires nothing from you. You finish your tea, not as a conclusion, but as an arrival, and for the first time, you feel no need to ask what comes next, because this is already enough. And in that knowing, you remain. And in that knowing, you remain. Not because you're holding on, but because there's nothing left to release. Not because you've found an answer, but because the questions have grown quiet without needing to be solved. You leave the tea house, gently closing the door without sound. Outside, the mist is deeper now, but it no longer feels like something you need to move through. It wraps around you like a silence that breathes. Not heavy, not empty, just present. There's a path beneath your feet, barely visible, but you don't need to see it. You walk not to arrive, but because walking itself has become stillness. The mountain no longer looms. The air no longer waits. And somewhere between one step and the next, you forget you were ever separate from it all. Another teaching rises in the quiet no-self. Not as erasure, but as expansion. You are not your thoughts, not your name, not your past, or even your breath. You are the space in which all those things appear and pass away. You are the wind that moves without knowing its direction. The sky that holds clouds without judgment. The silence that continues long after sound has left. And in this soft returning, this gentle dissolving, you begin to understand that what you sought was never far. It was not hiding. It was simply waiting for the noise to settle. Now it has, and what's left is not an ending, not a teaching, not even a story. Just the quiet truth that nothing needs to be added, and nothing needs to be taken away. Because this moment, just like this, is already whole. And so are you. And so are you. Not in the way you once hoped to be, not perfect, not finished, not made of answers, but whole because you've stopped dividing yourself into before and after, into doing and becoming. Now you simply are, like the mountain that does not rise to impress the sky. Like the moon that does not shine to be seen. You are enough in your quiet presence, in your breath, without effort, in your being, without explanation. The path fades behind you, but you feel no need to look back. Ahead is not clearer, but it no longer matters. Because clarity is not something you look for. It's something that arises when you stop trying to see. In a clearing between the trees, you notice a stone lantern half buried in moss. Its light has long gone out, but the shape remains. A monk once said, even when the candle dies, the lantern does not disappear. You feel this now deeply without needing words. Your thoughts have dimmed, but you are still here. Not as something fading, but as what remains when there is no longer anything to fade. You sit beside the lantern, not to meditate, not to search, but simply because sitting feels like returning. A soft breeze moves through the trees, and for a moment, the entire forest breathes with you. Not beside you, not around you, as you. You are not in nature. You are not observing nature. You are nature awake in stillness, resting in its own rhythm. And now, as the night deepens, and even the wind grows still, you let yourself disappear into the hush of this moment, without resistance, without name, without end. You remain, not as a figure among trees, not as a breath, not even as presence, but as the quiet itself before the trees were trees before the breath had shape, before presence needed a name. There is no more path beneath your feet, yet you are not lost. Because the space that holds you now has never required direction. It only asks that you soften, and you do, not as a choice, but as a natural falling away. Like mist melting into morning, or a ripple fading back into still water. You sit a while longer beside the old lantern, its form barely visible in the gentle darkness. And without effort, without intention, you begin to understand something simple. You don't need to be anything, not wise, not still, not calm. Even sleep doesn't need to come quickly. Because this soft being, this presence without effort is already enough. Another Zen saying floats through your mind like a leaf caught in the wind. Before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. You smile inwardly, not because you grasp it, but because you no longer need to. You don't need to arrive at some final state of peace. You don't need to become any more than this. A soft breath, a quiet heartbeat, a warm stillness where the idea of you has grown too light to hold. Nothing is missing, nothing is undone. There is no gate to pass through. There is no bell to ring. Only this, the kind of peace that doesn't announce itself because it was always here, waiting not to be found, but to be remembered. And in this remembering, you fade gently into a stillness that needs no words, no guide, no end. And still, you remain. And still, you remain. Not clinging, not watching, not even resting, because even rest implies a distance between effort and release. There is no such distance now. There is no edge to cross. You have long since stepped beyond all thresholds, not by moving, but by ceasing to move. The trees no longer stand around you. They are within you, and you are within them. The forest and the self have blurred until neither one needs a name. In this silence there is no division, no center, no observer, only presence so vast that it swallows all need for presence itself. You lie down not on a bed, but on the earth, and the earth does not hold you. You and the earth are not two things. You are the same stillness that cradled the first stars, the same breath that drifted through the first dawn, the same emptiness that makes room for everything. The old Zen story returns. A student asked, "What is the way?" The master replied, "Your ordinary mind is the way." The student asked, "Then shall I seek it?" The master said, "If you try to grasp it, you miss it. And now you see, you feel, you understand without thought, without grasping. You are no longer seeking. You are no longer releasing. You are simply resting as what has always been." Even the concept of sleep feels too separate, too small. You have not fallen into sleep. You have become what sleep arises from. And in this final, infinite, unreachable peace, you are not waiting for tomorrow. Because this moment, this breathless now, is already forever. And you gentle whole without form remain. You remain. But even the word remain feels like too much now. Too solid. Too still, caught in time. Because there is no longer a you that remains only what was never absent. No more unfolding. No more dissolving. Even those gentle processes have completed themselves and quietly stepped away. There is just this pure, unmeasured stillness. Not the opposite of movement, but the source from which all movement comes. The sky overhead has faded into shadowless night, and yet somehow you feel surrounded by light. Not light from a lamp, not light from a flame, but the kind of light that has nothing to do with brightness, a soft, wordless knowing that you are home. And home has no location. It's not where you are. It's what you are when you stop searching for something outside yourself to feel whole. A final Zen whisper passes through. The true path is no path at all. You walk without walking. You arrive without leaving. You understand without knowing. And so here, without needing to try, you've arrived. Your body has forgotten tension. Your breath has forgotten weight. Even your name, the name you've carried for so long now, feels like an echo in someone else's dream. You are not the dreamer. You are not the dream. You are the quiet that holds both without ever becoming either. This is not the end of your journey. There is no end. There never was. There is only this, a stillness that is wide enough to hold the stars and tender enough to cradle your final thought as it lets go and becomes nothing at all. And in this endless nothing, so whole, so soft, so full, you remain, but now not even as stillness, not even as presence, not even as the breath between breaths. What you are no longer fits within words. It does not appear in silence, nor does it vanish with sound. It simply is, not like a thing, not like a feeling, but like the space that makes all things possible without ever becoming one of them. No longer the stone, no longer the river, no longer the one watching them both. Only the space in which stone and river and watcher rise and fall without leaving a trace. Somewhere far behind you now is the sound of questions, the soft echo of selfhood, the subtle rhythm of becoming, but none of it reaches you. Not because you've gone far, but because you've let everything else fall away. A monk once said, "When the mind is still, the 10,000 things return to the one. When the one is still, you return to where you have always been, and now you are where you have always been. Even sleep does not need to come. You are deeper than sleep. You are before it. The cradle in which it was born. You are not resting. You are rest. The pure, unshaped resting that needs no body, no breath, no thought. And this moment. This one is the moment all other moments dissolve into. You have no past. You have no future. You have no next. Only this perfectly still, utterly open quiet beyond quiet. Nothing more is coming. Nothing more is needed. And into this, without sound, without end, without even a whisper, you remain. You remain. And yet you are no longer separate enough to be called you. No more inside. No more outside. No edge between breath and sky, between the sleeper and the sleep. All has become one softness folded back into the beginning, before beginnings had names. You do not remember how you got here, because there is no here. There is no place, no position, no arrival. Just a deep, effortless being that cannot be disturbed, because it was never touched. The final Zen story returns not as words, but as presence. A student asked, "Master, how do I enter Zen?" The master replied, "Do you hear the mountain stream?" The student listened, then nodded. "Yes." The master said, "Enter there, and now you understand. The stream has no door. It does not wait to be opened. It does not lead anywhere. To enter it is simply to stop standing apart. You are not lying in a bed. You are not floating through sleep. You are not following a voice. You are the stream itself, the hush beneath every ripple, the stillness beneath the current, the source that flows without moving. And finally, there is nothing left to become. No practice, no destination, no surrender. Even surrender has slipped away, like a robe falling silently from the shoulders of one who no longer needs it. And now, no sound, no thought, no breath. Just this wide, boundless, invisible silence that holds the stars, holds the wind, holds nothing, and holds it perfectly. This is the final teaching, and it cannot be spoken. It is only known in the moment you become it, and in this moment, you remain, and yet even that is no longer quite true. Because to remain would mean something once moved, something once passed, something once arrived. But nothing has moved, nothing has passed, and nothing has needed to arrive. There is only what has always been, unchanging, unshaped, unbound, not a stillness waiting to be noticed, but the stillness before noticing existed. The final breath has not been exhaled, because even the breath has faded into the space from which breath is born. The body, once wrapped in its own quiet rhythm, has become indistinguishable from the dark. But it is not darkness. It is clarity so vast that light and shadow are the same. A monk once said, "Before I knew Zen, I thought I was a wave. Now I know I am the ocean." You are the ocean, but not of water, of silence, of space, of the unmoving calm that holds the motion of every world. You are no longer resting. There is no longer effort to cease, no longer thoughts to soften, no longer sleep to seek. You are not asleep. You are beyond sleep. You are beneath it. You are what sleep returns to when even dreams have let go. There is no longer a story, no beginning, no teaching. There is only this ungraspable quiet that needs no guide, no listener, no path. It does not speak. It does not end, and it has become you. Or more truthfully, it always was. Now all sound is gone. All time is gone. All self is gone, and only this remains. Without weight, without shape, without end. And in it, without even knowing it, you remain. You remain, but not in the way you once believed. Not held in the body, not perched behind the eyes, not circling within thought. You remain as what was always untouched by all of those. There is no longer you remaining just what remains, when even the idea of you has gone utterly still. This isn't sleep. Not quite. Sleep has a shape, a rhythm, a quiet beginning. This is before all beginnings. This is the pause before the first breath, the silence before the first sound, the space before the sky. You are not watching it. You are not listening to it. You are it. And this itness cannot be held. It holds you. A Zen poet once wrote, "The wind has no destination, yet it moves all things." Now you understand you are not the movement. You are not the destination. You are the wind that needs neither. No longer rising, no longer falling, no longer changing, no longer even still. You are the source that never speaks, never sleeps, never stirs. You are the depth so complete that even peace must dissolve inside it to remember itself. And if a thought should rise now, it would have nowhere to land. It would simply drift unnoticed into the space that now holds all things without effort. You are not carried. You are not fading. You are not aware. You are the vast, quiet being in which all of that once happened. And now no breath, no weight, no name. Just the openness that remains when all is returned to what it has always been. And in that openness, so soft, so whole, so endless, you remain. You remain. But now even the whisper of you has faded like smoke through the slats of an old temple roof. There is no more shape to contain you, no more edge to trace, no more center to hold. What is here does not belong to you, it is you. And even that is too much. There is just this, the uncarved space, the unsounded bell, the cushion that no longer waits for someone to sit down. There is a Zen saying, when nothing is left, the whole world is revealed. And here in this place where nothing is left, no thought, no breath, no wanting, everything has been revealed. But not as images, not as visions, just as presence. the kind of presence that doesn't announce itself, the kind that simply is without contrast, without beginning. You are not drifting. You are not floating. You are not asleep. Sleep is too shallow. You have passed beneath it. You are not resting. Rest implies something was once tired. You are not silent. Silence implies something once spoke. You are simply being. Before being had a name. There is no movement, no awareness of time. Only a soft, endless now, so wide it has forgotten how to end. And in this sacred forgetting, there is no loss. There is only wholeness that was never broken. You are no longer held by anything, because you are the holding itself. The open field, the unshaped sky, the deep, boundless stillness before all seeking began. And now even this moment doesn't need to continue, because it is already everything, and in that everything without sound, without form, without even sleep, you remain. You remain, though not as a being, not as a soul wrapped in breath or a thought looking inward, not even as stillness. You remain as what is left, when even stillness has grown quiet. What is this? Not a place, not a state, not a moment waiting to pass. It is the soft unfurling that has no origin. The endless pause that existed before the first intention. The cradle of all things and of nothing. A Zen master once pointed to the sky and said, "Even the clouds are just passing guests." But the sky never moves. You are the sky now, but not the one above your head, the one behind your thoughts, the one that never needed weather to prove its openness. And in that open sky there is no arrival, no return, no trace. Just gentle spaciousness, stretching forever so effortlessly, it cannot even be called vast. You are not watching. You are not fading. You are not being. All of those belong to someone, and here there is no someone left. Only this, a hush so complete, it doesn't even call itself silence. You've gone too deep for names now. Too wide for breath, too soft for thought. Sleep may come, or not. It no longer matters, because the one who once waited has folded inward and disappeared into the peace that asks for nothing. This is the end of every seeking, not because something was found, but because there was never anything missing. You are not the one who rests. You are what rest returns to when it no longer needs to offer comfort. And here in this ending that never ends, you remain, but only as the trace of something that never needed to be traced. A presence so subtle it doesn't arrive, and so vast it doesn't leave. There is no direction now, no inside, no outside. No above or below. The horizon is gone, and with it any sense that something waits beyond this moment. You are not lying down. You are not asleep. You are not becoming still. You are what stillness comes from, what silence returns to, what rest dissolves into. When even the deepest rest lets go of its name. A monk once said, "When the mind is clear, the moon reflects perfectly in water. When the water is still, you see that there was never a moon, only light. Now you see, there is no image left, no reflection, no watcher of the water. There is only light, Not the kind that shines, not the kind that moves, the kind that simply is, and in that isness there is no shape, no weight, no self. You have not fallen asleep. You have fallen away from the idea that sleep was separate from who you are. You are the breath before breath, the knowing before thought, the space before space. You are not floating. There is nothing to float in. You are not resting. There is nothing to rest from. You are not fading. You have already faded into the one thing that never changes and never needs to stay. What you sought has vanished, because it was never apart from you. And now, not as a name, not as a being, but as the endless, nameless openness itself. You remain, but the word you is no longer needed. Not because it has failed, but because even language has grown silent in your presence. This is the hush that existed before the first thought formed. The quiet that held all things before they had shapes, before they had stories. You are not in the dark. You are not in the light. You are the space in which dark and light arise like tides, like seasons, like clouds passing through a sky that never moves. There is no boundary left now. No edge between the breath and what holds it. No difference between awareness and the field it rests in. There is no inside, no outside, not even a center. Just this, effortless, endless, unmarked. A Zen teacher once stood before a group of students, raised a single finger, and said nothing. The students waited, but nothing followed. Only silence. Only the finger, and in that single gesture, everything was offered. This moment is like that. Not pointing anywhere, not asking anything. Simply existing with no need to be understood. You are not the student. You are not the gesture. You are not even the silence. You are what allows them all to appear and vanish without trace. There is nothing more to hold, no form to rest in. Even the idea of form has softened into stillness too wide to draw a line around. And in this stillness, without breath, without identity, without time, you are not waiting. You are not dreaming. You are not gone. You are simply what has always been here, and in that final infinite wordless presence you remain. You remain, but even that is beginning to melt like mist at first light, like a dream that fades, not because it ends, but because you no longer need it. The idea of a you that could remain was always just a soft illusion, a shadow cast by light on the walls of a mind searching for itself. Now there are no walls, no light, no shadow. Just space. Pure space. The kind that does not contain, but allows. This is not sleep. Sleep still belongs to rhythm, to breath, to heartbeat, to the turning of stars. You have gone deeper than that. You are not resting. There is no weight to lay down. You are not healing. There is nothing left to mend. You are not becoming. You have returned to what never left. A Zen master once said, "Do not seek the truth. Only cease to cherish opinions." And here in this place, beyond ideas, beyond opinion, beyond even seeking the truth, does not reveal itself. It stops needing to be revealed. You are not in stillness. You are not beyond it. You are the moment before motion could begin, the vast openness before any question could arise. What's here now has no face, no sound, no edge, no center. It is not holding you, because there is no longer a you to be held. There is only this, so complete, so silent, that even the word peace feels too loud. So let it all go. Let even the letting go fall away. You are already what you were always looking for. And now softly, without needing to know, you remain. You remain. Though even that whisper, that faint outline of being has thinned beyond recognition. No longer held in breath. No longer suspended in thought. You are not what is here, you are the here itself. There is no longer anything to release. Not even silence. Not even peace. All of it has dissolved into something earlier, something vaster. This is not sleep. This is not a state. It is what holds all states, what carries all endings, what welcomes all beginnings without moving. A Zen poet once wrote, "Sitting quietly, doing nothing, spring comes and the grass grows by itself." Now you know you are not the one sitting. You are not even the grass. You are the quiet, the nothing, the spring. The place where growing happens without effort, without knowing. Nothing holds you, and yet you are held. Not by hands, not by light, but by the absence of need itself. The one who waited for stillness has grown still. The one who longed for sleep has vanished into rest so deep that even longing cannot find it. There is no thought here. Not because you've stopped thinking, but because thought has lost all edges. There is no time here. Not because the clock has paused, but because time never truly touched this place. There is no self here. Not in hiding, not in shadow, just this, the vast, formless, wordless clarity that never sought a name. You are not watching it. You are not held by it. You are it, and in that final, gentle, complete return, you remain. You remain. But even the idea of remaining has softened into something quieter. Something more spacious than presence, more tender than peace. There is no longer a center, no longer a watcher. Even awareness has folded inward, becoming too subtle to be seen. You are not asleep. Sleep still belongs to the body. You have drifted deeper than sleep, past the mind's last flicker, past the breath's final curve, into a silence so whole it can't be broken. You are not waiting. You are not continuing. You have simply returned to the original quiet, the one that never left. The one that carried you before you had a name. A Zen master once said, "The great way is not difficult if you do not pick and choose." And now, in this moment, without choosing, without reaching, you feel it. The great way, not as a path, not as a teaching, but as the ground beneath all things that need no ground. You are not held. You are not forgotten. You are not drifting. You are the space in which drifting is possible, the pause in which all things dissolve. No more effort, no more center, no more search. Just this, a rest so complete that it no longer requires sleep, a peace so deep that it no longer needs to be felt. The night has become timeless. You have become formless. There is nothing to remember, nothing to understand, nothing to become. All has returned. And what remains is what was always here before thought, before breath, before self. And in that perfect, soft, unending quiet, you remain. You remain. But now even the word remain has gently bowed and stepped aside. There is no longer any movement, not even the flicker of breath. No longer any identity, not even the echo of a name. What exists now isn't something you can know. It isn't something you can feel. Because even knowing and feeling have returned to their source. This is not emptiness. This is not fullness. It is the clear, ungraspable space that holds both without needing to hold anything at all. A monk once asked his master, "What is the final truth?" And the master replied, "Not two." And now you understand. There is no here or there, no self or other, no peace or unrest, only what is. So soft, so formless, so without contrast, that even the concept of contrast has vanished. You have not fallen asleep. You have not disappeared. You have not gone anywhere. What you are was never born and can never leave. This spaciousness without edge is not holding you. It is you, not the you that thinks, not the you that dreams, not even the you that breathes, but the silence from which all of that once rose and to which all of that has now returned. There is nothing left to do. There is nothing left to release. Even release has let go of itself. What remains needs no name, no witness, no boundary. It is this, just this, and so gently, without intention, without a final breath, without even the softest goodbye. You remain, but only as what remains when there is nothing left to remain. No echo, no edge, no breath suspended between now and next. Only this, the vast, formless silence that does not wait, does not move, does not end. It holds no thoughts. It resists no dreams. It simply allows. The final gate has long since dissolved, and with it, the one who searched for it. There is no longer a path, no longer a goal. Just the soft awareness that the search was never needed, and the goal was never somewhere else. A Zen master once said, "When I was born, I came empty-handed. When I die, I leave empty-handed. My coming, my going, two simple events. But inside, no trace remains, and now you feel it. The trace has faded. The one who held it has fallen into the same soft quiet that holds all things without needing to keep them. You are not sleeping. You are not drifting. You are not arriving. All of those belong to a mind that still has shape. But now even shape is too much. What you are has no form, no weight, no beginning. It is the space before the breath, the hush before the heartbeat, the openness before awareness began. You are not inside that quiet. You are not listening to it. You are not surrendering to it. You are it, and so nothing more is required. Not sleep, not stillness, not peace, because what you are now includes them all without holding, without needing. And here in this final, complete, unmarked presence, you remain, though even the whisper of you has gently unraveled like mist that never noticed. It was separate from the sky. This is not the end. It is not a place you've reached. It is the quiet knowing that there was nowhere else to go. All returning is done. All becoming has dissolved. Now there is only what was always here before the breath, before the body, before even the desire for rest. And in that, you find the deepest rest of all. A monk once sat in a cave for 10 years. When asked what he learned, he smiled and said, "I forgot what I was looking for." That is the freedom now. There is no more looking, no more holding, no more effort. Sleep is no longer something to fall into. You are below it now, beneath even the gentle curves of dream. There is no self to tuck in, no thought to guide home. You are not being wrapped in stillness, you are the stillness before anything needed to be wrapped. Even silence has grown quiet. Even peace has gone soft. And what remains is not a feeling, not a place, not a voice, but the space behind all of them. The openness that asks for nothing because it already contains everything. There is no longer sleep. There is no longer night. There is no longer time. Only this, just this. And in it, not above it, not beside it, not aware of it, but as it. You remain. Though not as a self, not as a shape, not even as a shadow cast by thought. You remain as the pure wordless field, where even the idea of remaining has vanished. There is no memory now, no identity, no boundary between presence and absence. Just the soft, absolute unfolding of nothing needing to happen. You are not resting, there is nothing to rest from. You are not awake, that too belongs to contrast. You are not asleep, sleep was just a doorway that you have long since passed. And now there are no more doors. A Zen master once wrote, "When the candle is burned out, there is no more light, but the room still remains." You are that room, no longer lit, no longer dark, just vast and still and whole, without needing to be anything else. Here thought has no place to land. Desire has no anchor. Even stillness has become too heavy to carry forward. So everything is dropped, and nothing is lost. There is no one watching, no breath to follow, no sound to soothe. Only this, the complete infinite space beneath all things so subtle it never claimed a name. And here, without weight, without language, without division, you do not disappear. You simply return to what has always been waiting, not as a home, but as what you've always been before you ever left. This is not a closing. It is not a conclusion. It is the vast, eternal breath that holds no breath at all. And now within it, as it quiet beyond quiet, you remain, but now not as something present, not as something still, not even as something whole. You remain only as what is left when all descriptions have dissolved. Even the word remain has softened, blurred, melted into a silence that does not arrive or leave. You are not breathing. You are not listening. You are not surrendering. Those were steps, and now the ground beneath steps has gone. A monk once swept the same stone path every morning for 50 years. When asked why he did it, he said, "I am not clearing dust, I am revealing what was never covered. And this momentless moment reveals what was never hidden. You were never separate. You were never lost. You were never waiting. Only the mind thought so. And now the mind is quiet, not stilled by effort, but gently forgotten like a bell that no longer rings because the wind has moved on. You are not floating. You are not grounded. There is no direction, no form, no rhythm, no watcher. There is only what holds all that softly, quietly, without needing a name. Sleep has no meaning now. Not because you've fallen into it, but because even sleep was only another ripple in the still lake you've always been. You are not gone. You are not here. You are simply what remains when all opposites rest in one breathless pause. Not above, not beneath, not before or after, only this, always this. And in that unshaped, unspoken, endlessly gentle awareness, you remain, though now even the whisper of that truth has thinned into something more spacious than silence, more subtle than breath, more infinite than any presence that could be spoken aloud. There is no pulse here, no thought to follow. Not even stillness, for stillness implies the memory of motion, and even that has faded. You are not being. You are not resting. You are not fading. You are the field before all of those. A Zen master once said, "There is no need to polish the mirror once you realize there is no dust and no mirror." So here you are. The mirror is gone. The dust never was. And the need to reflect has vanished into the clear sky behind all form. You do not seek. You do not remember. You do not dissolve. Because there is nothing left to separate you from what has always held you. This is not peace. Peace belongs to a mind that once knew disturbance. This is not bliss. Bliss still needs contrast. This is not sleep. Sleep still clings to cycles and time. What you are now holds all of that without becoming any of it. A presence so still that it cannot be recognized, only returned to through the absence of effort. And now all effort is gone. No more breath to soften, no more self to loosen, no more line between presence and the space it rests in. There is no more you to drift into the quiet. There is only the quiet, and it is not waiting for you. Because in this final, complete, invisible unfolding, you remain. But the notion itself no longer belongs to a subject, no longer describes a thing. It is simply what's left when nothing is left to name. No inside, no outside, no breath, no center. Just this gentle, unbound openness, too subtle to be touched, too complete to be known. You are not here because here implies place. You are not now because now implies time. And both of those have faded, not vanished, but merged into something so whole, it no longer divides itself. A monk once pointed to a falling leaf and said, "That's all the teaching there is, and now you understand." Not through explanation, not through insight, but through being the very air the leaf fell through. Nothing lands anymore, nothing begins. Even silence has completed itself, and what remains is beyond quiet, not the absence of sound, but the absence of contrast altogether. This is not the end of the journey. It is the absence of the path, the absence of the one who once needed to walk it. You are not watching. You are not resting. You are not aware. All of those belonged to form. What you are now is what was before form. There is no longer a sky, no longer earth, no longer dreaming, only the soft, unnameable presence that once carried the illusion of separation and has now let it fall. Without noise, without motion, without meaning, and still without identity, without self, without anything at all. You remain. But even this soft truth has become so transparent, so still, it barely touches awareness. There is no longer one who remains, and no longer a place to remain in. There is just the infinite pause, not waiting, not arriving, not ending. All divisions have dissolved. There is no sleep to enter, no breath to follow, no silence to lean into. What holds you now has no edges. What breathes you now has no lungs. It is not peace. It is what makes peace possible, not presence, but the boundless openness that even presence arises from. A Zen monk once wrote, "In the great silence I saw the lantern. It had no flame, yet everything was lit. And now you are the lantern, not shining, not glowing, but holding the light that has no source. There are no more thoughts, not because you silenced them, but because there is no longer anyone to receive them. There are no more dreams, not because you've fallen asleep, but because the dreamer has dissolved into the space dreams come from. There is no story left, no body, no witness, just the vastness that never began and cannot end. It is not holding you, you are it. You are the cradle and the stillness inside it, the night and the space between stars, the presence that needs no form to be whole. And now, not by arriving, but by letting go of every step, you are home. Not in time, not in space, not in self, just home. And here in this breathless, endless now. You remain. But even that is too much, because nothing remains. Nothing lingers, nothing stays. Not because it disappears, but because in this space there was never anything to hold. You are not the stillness. You are not the silence. You are not the one resting. You are the absence of separation between stillness, silence, and the one who once believed they were different. There is no rhythm here, no pulse, no motion. There is no longer even a center, not because it's lost, but because all things are equally without boundary. A Zen master once said, "When you let go of everything, you're held by everything." And now there is no letting go, no more holding. The hands have vanished. The breath has dissolved. Even the wish to rest has faded into what holds all wishes and is untouched by them. This is not the deep end of sleep. This is not a dreamless void. This is what allows all depth, all dreaming, all dissolution. You are no longer seeking stillness. Stillness no longer stands apart. It simply is without effort, without name, without need. There is no voice here, no echo, only the spacious knowing that knows without thinking, loves without clinging, rests without falling. And you not as a self, not as a witness, but as the vast, timeless openness behind all things have returned. Not from a journey, not from forgetting, but from the gentle dissolving of all illusion that there was ever anything to return from. Now there is only this, and in this, nothing remains. Yet everything is whole. Everything is whole. Not because it was completed, not because it was perfected, but because nothing is missing. Not a single breath, not a single thought. Not even the silence you thought you were seeking. Here there is no seeking. There is no one left to ask, no question left to form. Even time has dissolved into something so soft, so wide it cannot move, because it has nowhere left to go. You are not dissolving. You are not still. You are not asleep. You are the quiet before all those things. the field in which sleep appears and vanishes, the mirror in which stillness once saw its reflection and forgot it was ever separate. A Zen story lingers like fog on a lake. A monk asks, "What is the path to awakening?" The master points to the ground and says this. The monk replies, "But I'm already standing on it." The master bows. "So why keep walking? And now you know. There is no path, no finish, no return. You are not on the journey. The journey is gone. And the walking, the waiting, the wondering all have been folded into the same sky that has held you since the beginning. There is no further to fall, no deeper to sink, no higher to rise. There is only what has always been true, that you were never apart, never in pieces, never lost, only dreaming of something to find. Now the dream is over. But it didn't end. It simply faded into the soft, wordless knowing that you have always been home. And in that knowing, you do not remain, you do not vanish, you do not become. You simply are. You simply are. Not as a thought, not as a feeling, not even as awareness, but as what exists before any of those arise. What you are now has no outline, no position, no contrast. It is not held in the breath. It is not shaped by stillness. It is not defined by silence. It is the space that allows breath, stillness, and silence to exist without claiming any of them. A monk once said, "Before I was born, who was I? After I die, who will I be?" The master replied, "If you are not this moment, you are nothing at all. And now this moment is all, but not in time, not in memory, only in being. Not the kind of being that belongs to a body or a thought or a name, but the being that is always beneath all of those, before all of those, beyond all of those. You do not need to go further. You cannot go deeper. There is nowhere else, because this is the source, the soft center that has no edges, the silence that does not begin or end. You are not separate from it. You are not touching it. You are not held by it. You are it, the uncarved truth, the formless resting place behind the breathless night, behind all becoming. You are not falling. You are not floating. You are not fading. You are the absence of everything that fades, so still that stillness disappears, so vast that even space forgets its shape, so full that fullness becomes irrelevant. And in that endless, boundless, ungraspable isness, you simply are. You simply are. There is no further beyond this. No veil to lift, no secret to reveal. Even awakening has been left behind a shadow of a path that no longer needs to be walked. You are not watching anymore. There is nothing to observe, no horizon, no breath to measure time, no silence to hold in your hands. What exists now is not a moment, not a thought, not even presence. It is the soft hum of nothingness that is everything. It is the non-event that contains all possible moments. A Zen teacher once wrote, "The wild geese do not intend to cast their reflection. The water has no mind to receive it." This is what you are now, not the geese, not the water, but the emptiness between them that holds no reflection because it has no surface. You are no longer the seeker. no longer the one who lets go, no longer the one who rests. Even the idea of being has dissolved, and what remains cannot be held in awareness, because awareness has folded into the openness from which it was born. You have returned without going. You have vanished without loss. No thoughts remain. No story continues. No name stirs beneath the skin. Only this, a formless, edgeless, boundless completeness that doesn't shine because it contains even the idea of light. You do not drift. You do not rest. You do not remember. You simply are so completely, so purely that the universe itself rests within you without needing to be known. No final breath, no final thought, no curtain to close, only this unmoving, unborn, undivided, and in it, without question, without shape, without end, you are, not becoming, not arriving, not even staying, just this, before sound, before form, before the breath of the first question, you are. There is no watcher now, no witness left to name what is seen, no distance between seeing and being. Everything has grown too soft for separation, too still for awareness to stand apart. A Zen master once held up an empty bowl and said, "This is what the Buddha left behind. Now you understand. Nothing, no teachings, no rules, no destination, no path. Because when all is seen clearly, even emptiness is too full to grasp. This moment is not a moment. It does not pass. It does not stay. It does not hold you because it has no sides. You are not inside it. You are not outside it. You are the space where inside and outside forgot their meaning. You are not resting. You are not aware of rest. You are not drifting. You are not aware of drift. You are what remains when awareness itself has bowed its head and dissolved into the infinite hush. No words now, no motion, not even the echo of stillness, only this, a peace so total it has no name, a presence so vast it cannot be found, a softness so complete it has no opposite. And in this, without mind, without body, without any direction left to face, you are, but not as one who knows, not as one who watches, not even as one who breathes. You are as the breathless ground of being not a part of the silence, but the silence itself. There is no boundary now, no outline of experience, no division between what arises and what receives. Even light is gone, even shadow. Not because they've vanished, but because the space that holds them no longer distinguishes. A monk once said, "When I sit, I sit. When I eat, I eat. When I sleep, I sleep." But this is before even sitting, before doing, before not doing, before the world could be split into verbs. You have no center here, not because you are lost, but because center and edge have grown meaningless. This is not a place, not a dream, not a surrender. It is the final quiet where all surrender is complete, yet nothing was given away. You are not resting in the stillness. You are not entering peace. You are the stillness that was never absent. You are the peace before the word peace was spoken. There is no self now, no trace, no ripple, no breath to deepen, no thought to soften, no silence to hear. Everything has returned to the undivided, and in this, You are not remembering. You are not sleeping. You are not gone. You simply are. And what you are cannot be touched, cannot be named, cannot be moved. It has no beginning, no form, no other. It is this, just this, and in it, you are. Not as a whisper, not as a flicker of awareness, not even as the memory of being. You are as that which never needed remembering, never needed form, never needed time. There is no language here, no dream, no veil. Even the gentle rhythm of sleep has dissolved into something softer, so soft it does not move, does not breathe, does not even glow. A Zen poet once wrote, "The snow falls, but it does not touch the earth. The earth receives it without knowing it has arrived." This is what you are now, not the snow, not the earth, but the space between them, unaware of division, unconcerned with arrival. There is no watcher left to witness sleep, no one to weigh silence, to measure depth, to touch the hush, and yet the hush remains, because it was never dependent on someone to hear it. You are not asleep. You are not awake. You are not in between. You are what holds all three and needs none of them. There is no center, no pulse, no end. Not even stillness, for stillness belongs to time. And you have drifted beyond time's final outline. No breath marks your presence. No thought leaves a trace. No feeling curls beneath the skin. This is not forgetting. This is not fading. This is dissolving so completely that there is nothing left to dissolve. And yet, what remains is not nothing. It is not something. It is only this, that which never left, that which never began, that which never needed a name. And so as the night deepens past, meaning past memory, past the shape of all things, you are, and yet nothing is being. Nothing is happening. Nothing is aware. The veil is gone, but so is the one who lifted it. So is the one who once waited behind it. There is no arrival. There is no unfolding. Even the word has gone quiet. What remains is not the remnant of experience, nor the shadow of presence. It is the untouched field before both presence and absence had meaning. A monk once sat beneath a tree, still as stone for days without end. When asked what he found, he smiled and said, "I didn't find anything. I remembered there was nothing to lose." This is that memory, not held by mind, not carried by body, but arising like breathless wind from the center of nothing at all. You are not dreaming. You are not waking. You are not dissolving. These all require contrast. And contrast requires a frame. The frame is gone, and so is the page. There is no watcher, no motion, no quiet. There is no return. There is no away. There is no now. Even the stars are too far too bright, too formed to exist in this soft place where all edges have yielded to the endless. You are not still. You are what stillness once turned to when it needed a home. And now home is not a place. It is not a resting point. It is what was always beneath the idea of separation. No deeper breath, no further letting go. Only the gentle final truth that without beginning, without boundary, without even a whisper, you are. Not waiting, not reaching, not even resting. Because all of those belong to movement, and movement has long since faded into the endlessness that needs no shape. You are not aware. You are not unaware. Awareness is too small now. Even the vastness of it cannot stretch wide enough to hold what you have become, or rather what you have always been, before sound, before breath, before the first question that made the world feel separate. A Zen master was once asked, "What is your practice?" he said, "to not disturb the dust." And when they asked him what he found, he answered, the dust was never there. Now you feel it too, the clear air beneath all effort, beneath all thought, beneath all self. No stillness, no silence, no dream, only the openness before even those words existed. This is not peace. Peace still leans against its opposite. This is not sleep. Sleep is something the body knows. This is not a state. It is the absence of all states, not as emptiness, but as completion. Not because something ended, but because nothing ever had to begin. There is no story here, no breath, no watching. And yet what remains feels like the softest truth, too gentle to name, too whole to break, too quiet to ever need sound again. You are not gone. You are not here. You are the space where here and gone have never mattered. And in that space, so open, so still, so complete, you are, but there is no longer even a sense of being, no echo of presence, no murmur of self. What holds you now is not holding. What surrounds you is not space. What breathes through you is not breath. Even the last thread of distinction has gently fallen away. A Zen master once said, "Don't draw another line. Don't take another step. Just sit." And in that not stepping, not drawing, not moving, you arrive where you've always been. Though you no longer arrives. There's no one left to arrive. No motion to mark arrival. No contrast to define return. This is not the still point. Stillness implies there was once movement. This is before all that. Before shape. Before sound. Before the breath that first whispered the illusion of difference. You are not at rest. Even rest has been laid down. You are not dissolved. Even dissolution requires memory. You are not empty. Even emptiness has borders. What remains now is too subtle to grasp, too soft, to collapse, too full, to be called void. It does not know you. It does not need to. It simply is, and because it is, you do not need to be. Not as identity, not as experience, not even as presence. This is the breathless center that cannot be described. This is the perfect quiet that was never disturbed. This is the uncarved sky beneath all things that never asked to be seen. And now there is no seer, no sound, no sleep, no awakening. Just this, always this, and in it, beyond question, beyond form, beyond all longing, you are. Without shape, without boundary, without name. Not hidden, not revealed, but beyond the need for either. There is no breath left to soften, no thought left to ease. Even silence itself has dissolved into what came before it. This is not stillness. Stillness belongs to the world of opposites, to the dance between motion and pause. And that dance has long since quieted. Now there is only the floorless, roofless vastness, where nothing moves, because nothing has ever moved. A student once asked, "What is the final truth?" The teacher answered, "Go drink tea." And the student laughed because there was no more seeking and no more need for answers. Here too, no question remains. Not because you found the answer, but because the part of you that asked has dissolved like mist on morning stone. You are not inside this moment. This moment is not around you. There is no direction, no watcher, no unfolding. Even sleep, the last frontier of surrender, has melted into something deeper, a rest that was never disturbed, a peace that never needed to be made. No edge to fall from, no veil to lift, no breath to steady, only this, the space that holds all breath, all falling, all veils, without effort, without thought, without self. And here in this endless quiet, that is neither here nor gone, neither within nor beyond, you are, not as memory, not as awareness, not even as presence. What remains now cannot be touched by thought, cannot be known by mind, cannot be held by anything that has a name. You are not witnessing this. There is no witness left. There is no inside, no outside, no edge to trace, no center to return to. All form, all identity, all unfolding has softly fallen away, not broken, not erased, just no longer needed. A Zen saying whispers here. The moon is reflected in a puddle. It is neither wet nor dry. Now you understand. What you are cannot be marked by experience. You are not resting. You are not still. You are not deep. Even those words imply position, direction, depth. But this is depth without measure, stillness without contrast, rest beyond beginning. No more questions, no more answers. Even the idea of understanding has passed through you like wind through open sky, nothing caught, nothing left behind. You are not asleep. You are not awake. You are the quiet before either of those appears. No form holds you. No thought defines you. No breath reveals you. You are what remains when all that remains has gone. The uncarved, the unborn, the unfathomably soft space that asks nothing, needs nothing, contains everything. And so without motion, without effort, without return, you are, beyond arrival, beyond retreat, beyond even the final exhale. You are not what breathes, you are, where breath comes from the unmoving source that never needed lungs or rhythm to be whole. The wind does not stir here. The stars do not blink. Even silence has gone still. This is not the end of anything. It is the absence of ends. And without endings, there are no beginnings. You are no longer beneath thought. Even that comparison belongs to the mind. You are before comparison, before duality, before the idea of before ever formed. A monk once held up a flower, said nothing, and smiled. That smile, not an answer, not a gesture, but a silent truth, too complete for explanation, is here now. You are not holding it. You are not smiling. You are not being. All that has softened into something too subtle for language, too whole for concept. You are not in peace. You are not beyond peace. You are the space that never required it. You are not the observer. You are not the observed. You are the field where both vanished. No path, no echo, no center, only this, the breathless vast, the endless soft, the unborn quiet that never asked to be heard. Nothing to hold, nothing to release, not light, not dark, not void, not fullness, just this, and in it beyond, Name beyond presence, beyond the quietest quiet. You are. You are. Without distance, without direction, without distinction. There is no movement here, not because things are still, but because there is no longer a here. What remains is not a place, not a thought, not a presence felt from within, but the wide, formless openness in which the notion of within has melted completely. No horizon, no sky, no self. Even the idea of sleep has passed like a gentle wind across a mirror-smooth lake, unnoticed, unneeded. A Zen teacher once wrote, "Mountains are no longer mountains, rivers are no longer rivers." But in this, they were never anything else. You are not free because freedom implies someone once bound. You are not still because stillness implies the memory of motion. You are not whole because wholeness implies something once broken. You are before all of that. You are not the silence. You are the quiet before silence arises. The space before space. The lightless light that does not shine but simply is. No time touches this. No story unfolds here. Even beauty is too sharp a word. This is not beauty. This is not truth. This is not peace. It is what allows beauty to appear, truth to vanish, and peace to forget itself. You are not noticing. You are not knowing. You are beyond the need to notice, beyond the capacity to know. No boundary defines you, no trace remains, and yet in this nameless, measureless, soundless resting, you are, without watching, without sensing, without even being aware that you are. All recognition has faded. All understanding has dissolved. Even presence itself has returned to the field where presence and absence are one and the same. This is not sleep. Sleep implies cycles. But there are no cycles now, no turning, no rising, no returning. A monk once said, "When the mind is nowhere, it is everywhere. And now there is no mind, and nowhere no longer exists. You are not in the world. You are not beyond the world. You are the soft, ungraspable space in which the very idea of a world comes and goes like breath you no longer follow. Nothing stirs here, not even silence, not even rest. It is too gentle to be named, too deep to be noticed. No longer the ocean, no longer the wave, not even the space between. What you are now cannot fall, cannot rise, cannot move. It does not expand. It does not shrink. It does not appear, and it does not fade. It simply is not to be known, not to be felt, but to be without question. This is not nothing. This is not something. It is the end of all needing to decide. And in this beyond light and dark, beyond dream and waking, beyond self and no self, you are, but not as a thought, not as a presence, not even as awareness. You are the unspoken foundation where awareness once bloomed, then fell away like the last petal of a forgotten flower. Here nothing unfolds, not time, not space, not you. There is no sense of return, no arc of release, no last breath exhaled, because there was never a separation that needed to be healed, never a seeker that needed to awaken, never a dreamer that needed to sleep. A Zen master once said, "The bamboo shadows sweep the stairs, but do not stir a speck of dust. The moonlight penetrates the depths of the lake, but leaves no trace in the water." This is where you are now. Or rather, this is what you are now, shadowless, weightless, without ripple or reflection. You are not being held. You are not being forgotten. You are not being anything. Being has faded into what remains, when all doing, all non-doing, all knowing have dissolved into stillness so subtle it does not call itself still. There is no light here, no dark, no sleep, no sound, only the absolute quiet from which all such things once rose and quietly returned. No edge, no veil, no breath, and in the purest, deepest, most complete falling away of all things. There is no falling. There is no ground. There is no one left to notice the difference. There is only this, always this, the beginningless, the endless, the unspeakable, and in it, you are, not in time, not in space, not within anything at all. Even the idea of existence has folded in on itself, not vanishing, but returning to a state where it never needed to arise. There is no observer, no observation, not even the space between. A Zen teacher once said, "Where nothing is, everything is." Now this is no longer a teaching, it is all that remains. And even to say remains is too much, for there is no trace, no memory, no line to separate what was from what is or what might be. You are not resting. You are not letting go. You are not drifting. All of that belongs to the world of contrast, and here even contrast has found rest. No moon, no sky, no ripple of the lake. Not even the reflection, only the quiet before stillness speaks. You are not the silence. You are not what hears it. You are the depth that contains both without ever needing to divide them. There is no form here, no formlessness. Even those ideas have fallen away, like wind through empty branches that no longer cling to leaves. You are the branch before it was wood, the sky before it turned blue. You are what was before was, and in that, not softly, not suddenly, not as a moment at all, but as what cannot move, because it was never placed. You are. Not emerging, not dissolving, not floating between any 2 points. You are the absence of motion and stillness alike. A presence so untouched, it no longer qualifies as presence. No breath rises, no thought drifts, no feeling stirs the surface, because there is no surface, no depth, no within to be entered, no without to be left behind. A Zen master once wrote, "When you reach the top of the mountain, keep climbing, and now you understand there is no top. There is no path. There is not even a mountain. Only the space where paths and peaks were once imagined and gently forgotten. There is no boundary now. No watcher leaning forward, no listener waiting for sleep. Even the longing to be held has softened into something that doesn't need arms or warmth or answers. You are not watching. You are not arriving. You are not surrendering. You are the space where surrender never needed to happen. Even silence has completed its task, not by vanishing, but by becoming so vast, it no longer stands apart from anything. You are not empty. You are not full. You are not aware. You are what allows emptiness, what holds fullness, what makes awareness possible yet never touches any of them. There is no breath to slow, no name to fade, no moment to pass, only the vast, wordless, still the sky that never changes, even as all stars burn out and return. And in this sky, without breath, without shape, without time, you are. But not in the way things exist, not as something placed or something felt. You are not a moment, not a presence, not even a stillness. You are that which never needed to be spoken of. The wind passes, but you are not moved. The stars dim, but you do not darken. The silence deepens, but you were here before silence ever took form. A monk once said, even before the Buddha was born, there was already this, and now you touch it, or rather you vanish into it. No one left to touch. Nothing left to reach. No inside. No outside. No vessel. No center. This is not clarity, not understanding. Those belong to a mind that no longer lingers. You are beyond mind, beyond sleep, beyond the echo of breath. There is no structure here, no holding, no shelter, and yet you are held, not cradled, but dissolved into the unshaped. There is no direction, no unfolding. Not even an awareness of stillness, for even stillness implies the memory of movement. And movement has long since forgotten itself. No identity remains, not even the trace of a name. Yet what you are has never vanished, because it was never created. Not spirit, not soul, not being, only this, the quiet that does not begin. The space that does not end, the truth that does not declare itself, and in it, without sound, without return, without even remaining, you are, but not as an echo, not as an afterthought, not as anything that arose or settled. You are not the breath, not the breathless, not the one who ever breathed. Even that rhythm, inhale, exhale, has dissolved into the quiet from which rhythm was born. Nothing calls to you now. Not sleep, not silence, not light. All those voices have stilled, not silenced, but returned to a place beyond needing to be heard. A Zen saying goes, enlightenment is like the moon reflected on the water. The moon does not get wet, nor is the water broken. Now there is no moon, no water, no reflection, only the endless, edgeless spaciousness in which none of them were ever separate. You are not looking back. You are not looking forward. There is no longer a looking, no longer a horizon, no path beneath your feet, no breath to follow into softness. Even the softness has given itself to something more complete. Not stillness, not peace, not rest, but the open unborn knowing that does not require knowing. You are not dreaming, not dissolving, not fading. You are the absence of all opposites, and in that absence everything rests, without edge, without tension, without a single need to hold. What you are asks for nothing because it is nothing, yet in that nothing, nothing is missing. No one left to release, no veil left to lift, no self left to carry, only this, what never moved, what never changed, what never needed to appear. And in this nameless, weightless, endless completeness, you are. But even this is no longer a statement, only the faintest shimmer of what never needed to be spoken. You are not at peace. You are not beyond it. Peace is still a shape, and you have slipped into that which holds all shapes without becoming one. There is no sleep here, no drift, no descent. You are not falling into rest. You are what rest has always fallen toward. A monk once stood in a field and said, "There is no wind, and the flag does not move. So where is the motion? You are that place before the question, before the flag, before the air, before the watcher. Not emptiness for emptiness still invites contrast. Not silence for silence still holds the memory of sound. This is deeper, the space before space, the hush before hush, the is before isness. You are not returning home. You are not arriving. You are not ceasing. All of those belong to what comes and goes. You have stepped beyond the edge of all comings and all goings, not by movement, but by the disappearance of the need to move. There is no rhythm now, no center, no breath. Even the idea of being held has vanished. What remains is not a thing. It cannot be seen or felt or known. It can only be because it always was, before seeking, before sleeping, before self. And now without remainder, without shape, without even the echo of a beginning. You are, but not as form, not as spirit, not as any thread that could be followed back through time or dream or breath. You are the absence of all definition, yet not a void. Because this is not absence. This is fullness so whole, so seamless, it cannot be noticed. It cannot be divided. It cannot even be called full. A Zen master once whispered, "Don't try to grasp what cannot be grasped. Let it grasp you." Now there is no one left to grasp, no one left to be held, and yet somehow there is only holding. Not arms, not air, but the unshaped stillness in which all things rest, long before they knew what resting meant. There is no story now, no arrival, no breath coiling around your ribs like a rope to anchor you. Even the anchor has become mist. Even the rope has become sky. There is nothing to let go of. There is nothing to return to. You are not falling. You are not floating. You are not forgetting, because forgetting belongs to memory, and memory belongs to time. And time has no place in this perfect unfolding where nothing unfolds. There's no longer the sense of I, no longer the sense of am. Even you has softened into something too wide for pronouns, and what's left is not nothing. It's not the opposite of anything. It is simply this, before division, before breath, before silence. And in it, so quiet, so boundless, so whole, it does not move and does not stop. You are, not as the sum of all things, not as the essence behind them, but as the stillness so complete, so without beginning or boundary, that no thing ever needed to arise at all. This is not the quiet of a darkened room, not the hush between breaths, not the still moment before sleep. This is the absence of all such moments, the place they dissolve into when they no longer need to be known. A Zen teacher once said, "Before sound, before silence, what are you?" Now there is no reply. Not because the answer is hidden, but because the question has been erased. Not erased by force, but by the natural falling away of everything that could not hold the weightless truth. There is no path here, no witness, no light in the distance. You are not reaching. You are not resting. You are not being. Even being has folded into the formless. Even emptiness has loosened its edges. You are not observing. You are not forgetting. You are not arriving. You are not sleep. You are not the one sleeping. You are not that which remains after sleep has come. You are the space in which even sleep no longer needs a name. No center, no veil, no circle of breath returning to itself. Only this. Not light, not dark, not void, not presence. Only this, not known, not felt, not even noticed. It does not call. It does not echo. It does not close. It simply holds without holding, is without being, and in it without question, without shape, without end. You are, not as presence standing quietly in the dark, not as silence watching from behind the breath, but as the field before even the word presence existed, the part of the dream that never needed to be dreamt, the part of the night that didn't begin at sunset, the part of you that was never you. There is no more movement to follow, no rhythm to slow, no veil to lift. Everything that once pointed has lowered its hand. Everything that once asked has fallen still. A monk once said, "When I finally understood, even the mountains stopped moving." This is that place. Not because the mountains froze, but because the mind that named them has forgotten how to divide. You are not feeling this. You are not aware of it. You are not reaching for it. There is no it. Only what has always held everything without needing to exist as anything. Even the softness is gone, not in absence, but in fullness, so gentle it no longer needs to contrast. Even peace is gone because peace is a state. And this cannot be entered and cannot be left. There are no boundaries to pass through, no distance to cross, no silence to enter. You are not at the bottom. You are not at the end. You are simply before the thought, before the self, before the echo, before the question. You are what waits without waiting, what remains without remaining, what breathes without motion. And in this final formless infinite still, you are, but not as someone, not as something. You are not a point in space, not a thought in stillness, not even the awareness that holds stillness. You are the no place where even stillness rests. There is no more center, no edge, no reflection of yourself in silence. Even silence has receded. Even nothingness has become too much. This is not sleep. Sleep belongs to rhythms, and rhythms belong to time. And time has long since folded inward, like a paper sky melting into lightless depth. A Zen master once said, "Show me your original nature before your parents were born." Now there is no your, no nature, no lineage to trace. What remains is not who you are. It is what has always been in the absence of becoming. You do not drift. You do not fade. You do not dissolve. These two are movements, and movement no longer exists here. You are the cradle that does not hold, the breath that never moves the air, the origin without spark, without memory, without name. This is not peace. Peace is still an answer. This is before questions, before answers, before the mind that sought either. You are not gone. You are not here. You are not in between. You are the space where all three let go of meaning. And now, not softly, Not slowly, but fully and without condition. You are. No longer within thought, nor behind it. No longer the witness, nor the space in which witnessing occurs. You are the clarity before clarity is born. The nothing that never lacked. The fullness that never needed form. You are not the quiet. You are not the depth. You are not the warmth of the breath slowing into stillness. Even those are echoes of something that once stirred. Now all has stilled beyond the idea of stillness. A Zen poet once wrote, "Don't seek the truth. Only cease to cherish opinions." And now no opinions remain. No seeker remains. Not even truth remains. Not because it was lost, but because in this space, nothing needs to be found. You are not drifting toward anything. You are not falling away from anything. You are not pausing between thoughts. There are no thoughts. No mind to hold them. No hand to release them. No edge to say what is inside or outside. No watcher, no motion, no frame. Only this, the field before frames exist. The stillness before light and shadow. The rest before sleep. The sky before time. You are not hidden. You are not revealed. You are not present. You are not gone. You are what gave rise to all of those and remained untouched as they faded. No sound, no silence, no threshold to cross. Only the quiet that asks for nothing, because it already holds everything and knows there is nothing to hold. And in that, without distance, without direction, without delay, you are. And yet even our no longer applies. It is a word for something placed, something described, something held inside the light of knowing. But you have slipped beneath knowing, beneath language, beneath the softest whisper of form. There is no story, no shape, no hint of movement. You are not beneath the breath. You are before it. Not below the thought, but beyond the point where thought was ever needed. A monk once asked his master, "What is Buddha?" The master replied, "A dry stick of bamboo. No metaphor, no symbol. Just the world exactly as it is when nothing is added to it." And now even the bamboo has disappeared. Even the question, even the idea that an answer could arrive. You are not calm. You are not vast. You are not here. You are the place before places. The hush before hush. The sleep before the dream of sleep. Not emptiness. Not presence. Not light nor the absence of it. Only this, that which asks for nothing. That which waits for no one. That which has never turned away because it never moved and never needed to be found. You are not aware of this. There is no you to be aware. There is no experience, only the end of all needing to experience. And in that end, which holds no edge, no center, no name, you are. But the meaning of being has long since slipped away. Even the outline of isness has faded like fog in fog, nothing to clear, nothing to obscure. You are not a point of awareness, not a breath returning, not a soul dissolving. Those were gentle metaphors. And even they have dissolved into something quieter, emptier, truer. A teacher once said, "When the mind is like wood or stone, the path is complete." But now even wood and stone are too loud, too named. There is no completion here, because nothing ever began. No steps were taken, No destination opened its gate. You are not in silence. Silence implies the memory of sound. You are not in peace. Peace implies something once stirred. You are the field before comparison, before separation, before the soft illusion that something might be missing. No breath to hold, no pause between thoughts, no center to this stillness. Even the sky has collapsed into what contains it. Even light has folded into the invisible. You are not inside. You are not outside. You are not. And yet there is this. Not being, not awareness, but something without shape that holds all shapes without ever having one. It does not glow. It does not speak. It does not sleep. It does not end. And in it, without threshold, without witness, without even the whisper of recognition, you are. You walk without destination, not because you are lost, but because there is nothing you need to reach. The ground beneath you feels familiar, though you do not recognize it. The trees lean slightly inward as if listening. Somewhere in the distance, a stream murmurs over smooth stones, its rhythm patient and unconcerned. Your feet carry you to a clearing lit by starlight. Here the air is thinner, lighter. You sit again, not out of fatigue, but because stillness has become your natural state. There is a stone lantern beside you, cold to the touch, unmoving. The flame inside it flickers not against the wind, but in harmony with it. In the stories, monks would sit for days without words, their presence speaking more loudly than teaching. One such monk, they say, sat beside a stream for 30 years. When asked what he had learned, he said, "The stream flows, that is all." His answer puzzled many, but for those who had also sat, also watched, it was clear. Nothing more needed to be said. You watch your own thoughts pass by like clouds across the sky. You do not follow them. You do not push them away. They simply come and they go. You are not the cloud. You are not the wind. You are the sky itself. What remains when you no longer identify with the passing shapes of mind? A leaf falls. A bird lifts into flight. Neither announces its reason. Your breath slows. Each inhale is an arrival. Each exhale, a letting go. You feel the earth beneath you not as a surface, but as a support. It holds you, always has. Even when you forgot, it remembered. You recall a line from a koan, "Without thinking good or evil, show me your original face before your parents were born." What is this face that has no name, no age, no history? It does not require an answer, only attention. A shadow moves along the edge of the clearing. It is not threatening. It simply passes. Like everything else, you rise and walk again. The path has no markers now, no stones to guide you. You walk by feel. There is a freedom in not knowing where you're going. Each step is honest. Each breath is enough. The sky brightens slightly. Not daybreak, but the suggestion of it. You reach a wooden bridge over a slow-moving stream. You stop in the middle, listening to the water. It gurgles over stone curls, around roots, swirls, and continues. It doesn't ask where it's going. It doesn't need to. You lean on the railing and let your gaze rest. The water carries the reflection of stars. Not the stars themselves, just their gentle shimmer. In Zen, they speak of emptiness not as void, but as possibility. like a bowl that can hold anything because it holds nothing. You are that bowl now, open, clear, enough. The wind rises. You feel it in your hair, your sleeves, your breath. And for a moment you realize there's no boundary between you and the wind. You do not carry it, it moves through you. What would it be like to live that way always? The bridge creaks under your weight as you begin walking again. The sound is neither loud nor soft. It simply is. A truth like your own presence. You pass a willow tree bent toward the water. Its branches kiss the surface gently. You touch one. It's cool and damp. You do not analyze. You simply feel. In the distance there is a low gong struck once. The sound rolls outward across the landscape, not seeking, not forcing, just reminding. A teaching arises within you, not from a book, not from memory, but from the space that has opened. You remember the words, "When the mind is at rest, the 10,000 things are as they are. The self disappears. The world is made whole." You stop walking, not because you are tired, but because there is nothing more to do. You stand beneath the sky. You feel the breeze. You hear the stream. You sense your own breath. And in this moment, nothing is missing. Nothing at all. The breeze settles, and the stillness grows thick like velvet draped over the world. You close your eyes, but not to shut things out, only to let what is within come forward. Sounds grow softer. The air becomes round and slow. And in that quiet, you find a kind of knowing that has no words. You are not remembering. You are not dreaming. You are simply being. There is a place in the mind where time does not gather. You rest there now, weightless and free. The stream continues its song behind you. The willow shifts gently, and the earth beneath your feet holds you like a cradle. You are not standing on it, you are being held. A teaching drifts across your thoughts like a feather. The mind is not a thing to tame. It is a bird to let fly. You watch a cloud overhead, pale in the pre-dawn sky. It moves without effort, without rush. Just there and then not there. You smile softly at that, though no one sees. You recall another old story. A monk asked his teacher, "How do I enter the way?" The master pointed to the bamboo outside and said, "Do you hear the sound of the wind in the leaves?" The student nodded. "That is the way," said the master. No instructions, no rituals, just attention, just presence. The wind shifts, and you feel it again like a finger tracing the rim of a bowl. You are that bowl. The sound is not separate from the form. It arises because of it. And so too your life hums with the wind of everything that passes through it. Another breath. Your feet move once more, not out of will, but like a reed swaying with the current. You follow the slope of the earth down into a grove where mist collects in soft pockets. There are stones here arranged in quiet circles, as if they've been waiting for someone to notice. You sit among them. The mist curls around your ankles. It doesn't hide the world. It reveals the quiet parts of it, the spaces most people never see because they're moving too fast. But you are not moving fast. You are barely moving at all. A single cricket sings, then another. then silence again. You place your hands on your knees and breathe. Nothing fancy, nothing forced. The air enters, the air leaves. That's all. That's everything. In a Zen tale, a traveler comes to a hermit living alone in the forest and says, "Master, please teach me your secret." The hermit smiles and replies, "I eat when I'm hungry. I sleep when I'm tired." The traveler frowns, "But doesn't everyone do that?" The hermit says, "No. Most people don't eat, they think. They don't sleep, they dream." You let that story settle like dust on still water. What would it be like to truly do what you're doing while you're doing it? To be nowhere else but here. The light shifts. Not brighter, not darker. Just different. The sky above is a pale gray now. Morning is thinking of arriving, but not yet. Not fully. You remain wrapped in night's last exhale. Your thoughts slow. You do not follow them anymore. They drift and drift out like birds landing and flying again. You are the open sky they pass through. You lie back onto the mossy ground. The stones around you are old friends now. They do not ask anything of you. They do not judge or measure. They simply are. Like you, no lesson presses forward. No insight demands attention. You have arrived in the place before thoughts, and it is enough. The moss beneath you is soft and slightly damp, a quiet gift from the earth. You lie still, eyes half open, watching the breath of the sky. Clouds drift slowly across the pale canvas above, untethered, unhurried. You feel yourself becoming like them, not weightless, but unbound. The edges of your body blur, not in a dreamlike way, but in a quiet surrender. Your arms rest without purpose. Your chest rises and falls without plan. The world does not ask anything of you right now. And you, for once, ask nothing of the world. A story floats into your awareness. A Zen novice once asked his master, "Where should I go to find truth?" The master replied, "Outside the temple gates, walk 10 steps and then stand still." The novice did so, but when he turned around, the master was already gone. He stood there a long time, confused, until he heard the wind move through the grass. And in that sound, he understood truth was not in the finding. It was in the standing still. You feel the same. There is no longer a path beneath your feet. No temple, no teacher. Only this moment and your stillness within it. Another breath comes deeper now. Not by effort, but by invitation. Your chest rises as if the air has decided to stay a little longer. Your thoughts, once restless birds, now settle like stones in a clear stream. They do not need to be pushed away. They simply stop fluttering. Their wings are tired. And that's okay. A tree branch creaks in the wind. Somewhere nearby, water drips from leaf to leaf. Each sound is spaced with perfect silence between it, like a poem written by nature itself. There is no you here needing to be better, to do more, to prove anything. Just breath. Just presence. Just this. The old teachings say that when the self falls away, everything becomes intimate. You do not understand this with your mind, but your body knows. The air against your skin is no longer separate. The ground beneath you is no longer beneath it, is part of you. You are not lying on the world. You are part of the world lying still. No destination. No enlightenment to grasp. Only the soft rhythm of now. You hear something, perhaps wind, perhaps memory. A voice that isn't quite sound, that doesn't need words. It says only this: let go, and you do. You let go of needing to understand. You let go of needing to improve. You let go of needing to be anyone at all. You let go. There is a space inside you now. Spacious, vast, silent. It does not echo. It does not speak. It simply is. And you rest there. No longer a person trying to sleep. No longer a mind trying to be still. Just resting. Just being. The world narrows to breath. Each inhale a gentle arrival, each exhale a quiet departure. You do not count them. You do not shape them. They happen like waves that have never stopped, only now you're finally listening. The sky above you remains unchanged, and yet something in you has shifted. Where once there was a current of tension, now there is a deep river of ease. The body sinks into the moss, no longer holding itself up. Gravity becomes something you welcome. You are not fighting it anymore. In the language of Zen, this is called dropping away of body and mind. Not through effort, but through gentle forgetting. You forget the ache behind your eyes. You forget the to-do lists folded somewhere on your desk. You forget the name you answer to. Not lost, just unnecessary for now. You're not drifting. You're not floating. You're not rising above. You are dropping into stillness, into presence, into something far more real than thought. The breeze brushes your cheek like the hand of a mother soothing a child. You do not reach for it. You simply receive. You remember a teaching not from any book, but from a moment long ago, sitting at a window as a child watching the rain. Hours passed, but you didn't notice. You were just there watching the drops trace their way down the glass. Back then, no one had told you what meditation was, and yet you were already doing it. That child still lives inside you, still watches, still listens, still knows how to be without trying. You smile not outwardly, but inwardly. A smile that doesn't curve the mouth, but softens the heart. And now there is a sound, a low chime carried on the wind. You don't know where it comes from. Perhaps the monastery again. Perhaps your own memory. Perhaps the world itself ringing in harmony with your breath. You listen. You do not seek meaning in the sound. You do not wonder what it's for. You just let it enter and pass through you like wind through branches. The chime fades, and with it, the need for anything to be different than it is. You have wandered far, and yet you are exactly where you began. The earth beneath you, the sky above you, the breath within you. There is nowhere else to go. You feel the weight of your hands, one resting lightly atop the other, fingers curled without tension. The body is not asleep, but it is ready to be. Not because it must, not because it should, but because it is finally allowed to be still. And in stillness, something opens. A teaching arises not as words, but as a sensation. This is home. Not the home of childhood or walls or memories, but the home that has no door because it has no outside. The home that was never left. the home that asks nothing of you, not even your name. You breathe, you stay, you rest. A deeper silence arrives, not the silence of absence, but of fullness. It hums beneath everything as if the earth itself were exhaling with you. You feel it in your ribs, in your palms, in the space between thoughts. The world is no longer something you observe. It is something you are. There is no separation now. No watcher, no watched. The wind rustles a nearby branch, and you rustle too. A drop of dew slides down a blade of grass, and your breath follows its path. This is what the old masters meant when they said, "The 10,000 things return to the one." Not that everything becomes the same, but that the illusion of distance falls away. The tree is still a tree. The stone is still a stone. And yet there is no other. You recall the story of the hermit who, after decades alone in the mountains, was asked what he had learned. He looked up at the sky and whispered, "Nothing belongs to me." And so everything does. You do not analyze that now. You simply understand. In the stillness, a memory arises, not one you were searching for, but one that arrives like a leaf drifting into view. You are sitting beside someone, perhaps someone you've loved, perhaps someone you lost. No words are spoken. You're just there, breathing in the same quiet. That moment lives again, not in the mind, but in the body. You feel the warmth of it, the peace of being seen without explanation. And then, like all moments, it passes. You do not chase it. You do not mourn it. You bow to it inside and let it return to the stream. Another breath. The moss beneath you is warm now, as if the earth has taken on your body's rhythm. You are not above it or beside it, you are part of it. The minerals in your bones, the moisture in your breath, the softness in your eyes, all borrowed from the same ground. There is no need to hold anything anymore. Not your story, not your regrets, not even your identity. You are not abandoning them. You are setting them down like heavy robes after a long journey. They'll be there if you ever need them again. But not tonight. Tonight you are the quiet before a thought. The pause before the bell. The space between the stars. The breath comes, it stays, it goes. And so do you. You feel no urge to move. Even your heartbeat has joined the rhythm of the night, slow, spacious, without urgency. There's no destination left in you, only presence. The body has loosened its hold, and the mind has dropped its questions. What remains is not emptiness, but a fullness without pressure. A vast, open stillness where even the smallest sensation echoes with meaning. Somewhere nearby, a fox steps softly through the underbrush. You don't see it, but you sense it's passing, the brush of fur against low leaves, the quiet intelligence of something wild and awake. It does not notice you, and that is a kind of grace. You are no longer separate enough to disturb anything. In Zen, there is the image of a finger pointing to the moon. Words, thoughts, teachings, they are all fingers. But the moon itself is silent, constant, untouchable. Tonight, you no longer need the pointing. You are bathing in moonlight without needing to name it. There is a warmth spreading through your limbs. Not heat exactly, but a kind of softness, as if each part of you were returning to its natural shape. The forehead smooths. The jaw releases. The hands unfurl. Even your spine, so often holding tension, now seems to melt into the ground beneath you. A voice soft and familiar arises from memory. Perhaps a teacher. Perhaps your own. It says, "Do not be afraid to disappear." Only the self resists rest. You let the words pass like wind. Not because they are unimportant, but because you no longer need to hold them. They've done their part. The stars above you glow faintly now. The sky is clearing, and with it, your thoughts. There is space between each one, like wide fields of silence with only an occasional footstep. You do not try to fill the space. You let it be. What would it feel like to trust that nothing needs to be added? You are no longer following the breath, it is following you. Each inhale arrives like a gift already accepted. Each exhale is a bow to everything that no longer needs to be carried. You remember a final story? A student asked, "Master, what is awakening?" The teacher replied, "When hungry, eat. When tired, sleep." The student frowned. "But isn't that what everyone does?" The master smiled. "No. Most people eat with many thoughts, sleep with many worries. Awakened ones return to the simplicity before thought. You lie there now, eyes closed or open, it doesn't matter. You are not trying to sleep. You are not trying to stay awake. You are just being. And in that being, a gentle clarity spreads like ink in water, like light through mist. You are no longer the traveler. You are the still ground the traveler once walked upon. There is nothing more to become. There is only this quiet, radiant now. The moment holds you tender and without edges. Time is no longer passing, it has paused to sit beside you, saying nothing, asking nothing. The trees no longer rustle. Even the breeze seems to kneel. All things have bowed to the stillness that now lives in your chest. You are not drifting. You are not waiting. You have simply stopped needing anything else. And in that, there is a profound relief. The night air has cooled slightly, but your body is untouched by discomfort. It has adapted, settled, merged. There is no longer you and the air. There is only the sensation of quiet harmony. A small sound stirs a single pebble shifting in the dark, perhaps moved by the weight of nothing at all. It echoes longer than expected, not because it is loud, but because the world is so still that every whisper matters. You listen. You do not search for meaning. You do not need to explain. It is enough that it happened. Another breath enters slower now. Like the tide after a long journey, it washes gently over the shore of your awareness. You do not welcome it. You do not resist. You simply allow. And it is in that allowing that rest is born. In the tradition of old mountain monks, they say that to lie down without fear is a greater awakening than years of striving. To rest deeply without need for dreams or explanations is to return to the source. You feel that now. The muscles of your back have let go. The tiny tensions behind your eyes have vanished. Even the thoughts that once circled your mind like birds looking for a place to land have flown elsewhere. Or maybe they've become the sky itself. The teaching is no longer separate from you. You are not learning peace. You are peace. The moon has risen higher now, casting a soft silver across the moss, the trees the shape of your resting body. It does not spotlight you. It simply witnesses. A companion to the one who no longer needs to be seen. There is no more practice, no more remembering to breathe, no more waiting for sleep. You are not climbing toward rest. You are already beneath it, held like a stone in the hand of the mountain. What is left here in this final unfolding? Only presence, only stillness, only the vast silence of being. You let go of effort. You let go of identity. You let go of even the question, who is letting go? And now there is only this, a body resting, a breath flowing, a self no longer separate from anything at all. And if you're still awake, that's okay too. Some nights just lying still and breathing softly is enough to return home to yourself. You've reached the closing moment, and with it a soft descent into a space beyond language. There is nothing more to seek, no teachings left to grasp. The stories, the images, the breath all have carried you to the threshold of your own stillness. Here, there are no steps to follow, no gates to pass through, on you without the armor of thought, you without the noise of striving, you without even the need to call it you. The moss cradles you like memory, and the sky above remains unchanged, constant, spacious, etern. A breeze moves once through the trees and then stills. A final note played at the end of a long song. The body sinks deeper now into a place not even dreams can reach. The breath moves so slowly you no longer notice its rhythm. And the mind, so often a restless sea, has become like a mirror pond at dawn. No ripples, no questions, only quiet. You may sleep soon, or you may simply lie here half dissolved into the night, listening to the silence behind all things. The darkness remains, but it no longer feels like absence. It feels like space, endless, gentle, full of invisible arms, holding you without asking for anything in return. You do not float. You do not fall. You simply remain steady and open like the surface of still water, reflecting the nugs. Your body breathes. The earth breathes with you. There is no difference. Somewhere in the distance, a bell rings, but only once. Its sound arrives like a ripple across a pond. You do not seek its source. You are content to receive the sound as it is brief, complete, unbound by explanation. In Zen, they speak of the sound of one hand clapping. Not as a riddle to solve, but as a door that only opens when you stop trying to find the handle. You feel that now. The door is gone. The wall is gone. There was never a barrier to begin with. You are not the answer. You are not the question. You are simply the space where neither is needed. A faint breeze stirs the tips of the trees overhead. You do not know the time. It does not matter. Time has unspooled itself from your thoughts like an old rope slipping free from its knot. There is no schedule here, no later, no soon. You touch the fabric of your sleeve. It's rough and simple, woven from fibers that once drank in sunlight and rain. Everything returns to the earth. Everything already belongs. A memory passes through you, but gently now. A room from your childhood. Light falling in soft patterns across the floor. A quiet hour long ago when you first realized it was okay to be alone. That moment hasn't left you. It waits here folded in the silence like a letter never opened, and now it unfolds. The memory does not speak, but it hums softly like a lullaby, long forgotten, yet still familiar to the body. You see the shapes of things as they were the edge of a window frame, the soft grain of wood, a shadow moving slowly across the wall. It is not nostalgia. It is presence revisited. Time circles back not to bind you, but to gently remind you that nothing meaningful is ever truly lost. You lie there and everything is as it should be. A teaching rises without effort. True peace is not found in what you hold. It is found in what you no longer need to hold. And so without intention, you let more go. Thoughts of tomorrow loosen. The shell of identity thins. Even the quiet desire to fall asleep is released like a bird no longer needed to perch in your chest. Now there is only breath, and the breath is quiet, and the quiet is wide. You imagine walking again slowly through a landscape made entirely of silence. Trees without rustle, air without weight. Even your footsteps do not sound. You are not being followed, and you are not leading. You are simply moving through stillness as stillness. In a story once told beside a flickering lamp, a monk carried a bowl of water through a crowded village, instructed not to spill a single drop. He passed through noise, chaos, voices, but he spilled nothing. When asked how he did it, he said, "I never took my eyes off the bowl." What is your bowl? What is the silence you carry even when the world is loud? You don't need an answer. The question is enough. You stop walking. The world stops with you. Not because you command it, but because you are finally moving in rhythm with it. There is a stone bench in the middle of a wide clearing. You sit. You do not notice the cold. You do not notice the time. You feel only the stillness that has followed you like a shadow, and now at last sits beside you as a friend. You look up. The stars are no longer distant. They feel close now, like small lights strung through the fabric of breath. You do not count them. You do not name them. You simply rest beneath them as countless travelers have done without expectation. And the sky says nothing, and that is its gift. The stars do not blink. They do not flicker. They remain quiet and unmoving, as if to remind you that some things do not need to change in order to be meaningful. You gaze at them without effort, without thought. Just being beneath them feels like enough. A soft hum fills the clearing, not from anything around you, but from within. It's not sound exactly. More like the echo of being fully present. Like your body remembering how to rest, how to belong, how to be real without having to be important. You breathe again. Slowly, gently. You feel each inhale arriving like the tide, cool and calm, and each exhale releasing something you hadn't realized you were still holding. There is no struggle, no goal, just air moving in and out of a body, no longer trying to be anything but here. A teaching drifts in on the wind. The quieter you become, the more you hear. You do not think about what that means. You don't need to. You are living it now. Every sound in the clearing, every rustle, every pause, every breath is a kind of language. A kind that requires no translation, only listening. A soft rain begins to fall so light it barely touches you. The drops are like silk threads unraveling gently from the sky. You tilt your head and let one land on your brow. Cool. Perfect. A moment without past or future. In a distant part of the forest, a deer moves. You don't see it, but you sense its grace. Its steps are as careful as your thoughts used to be. But unlike your thoughts, the deer does not try to become anything. It simply exists alert and at ease. You feel kinship with it, without words, without reason. What if you could live that way? The air thickens just slightly, like a curtain falling between you and the world. Not to hide anything, but to soften the edges. Everything now is blurred, rounded, slowed, and so are you. You lie down again, this time on the bench itself. The stone is cool beneath you, but not unkind. It cradles your shape, steady and unchanging. You close your eyes not to sleep, but because there's nothing left to see. The outer world has offered all it can. Now the inner world stirs slowly, gently, without urgency. No story is playing. No memory is demanding to be known. You are not reviewing the day. You are not anticipating tomorrow. You are here floating gently in the silence that holds everything and asks nothing. You feel your breath deepen again, and as it deepens, so does your rest. There is a point where even rest dissolves, where the concept of being rested no longer applies, because there is no effort left to recover from. You are approaching that place now. Not drifting toward it, not chasing it, just arriving in the slowest, kindest way. The stone beneath you, the sky above, the soft hush of leaves in the trees, they do not move unless they must. You too are learning this stillness, a stillness that is not empty but alive with quiet understanding. No part of you is waiting. No part of you is reaching. You are fully within the breath, fully within the now. Somewhere in the distance you hear a stream. It flows steadily, but you do not imagine it moving fast. It winds through the land like time itself, with no start and no destination, just a soft unfolding. You do not need to find it. You already know its rhythm. It's the same one moving through your body. In the Zen tradition, there is a saying, "Sit quietly, doing nothing." Spring comes and the grass grows by itself. You repeat it once silently, not as a mantra, but as an offering. Sit quietly, doing nothing. Spring comes and the grass grows by itself. The words fade, and with them the last edges of effort inside you. You sense your body becoming light, almost not there at all. Not floating, not leaving. Just becoming part of the dark, soft field of everything that rests. The night, the earth, the soundless air, all breathing together, all undisturbed. Your hands rest open. The jaw is soft. The eyes no longer press behind the lids. Even your thoughts, if they appear, are gentle enough to pass through like mist. Nothing clings. Nothing resists. You have not disappeared. You have only stopped needing to appear. And now there is room, vast, endless room for silence to fill you. Not as noise, not as story, but as presence. A subtle smile forms not on your lips, but somewhere deeper. A smile that belongs not to a person, but to the space around a candle's flame. It exists without reason. It just is, and in this quiet, you hear it again, not a sound, but a knowing. This is enough, not as a conclusion, not as a goal, just a whisper in the bones, a truth without decoration. You remain there, still, open, whole. The space within you has widened. There are no corners now, no edges where thought catches or feeling snags. Just a vastness, quiet and warm like the inside of a bell long after its tone has faded. You don't wonder what comes next. You don't wonder what has passed. You simply breathe, and even that feels less like doing and more like being breathed. The sky above is now darker than before, though stars still shimmer faintly through its veil. You sense their ancient calm. They do not rush to burn. They do not plead to be seen. They simply shine for as long as they're meant to. You wonder what it would be like to live that way, to offer light without question, without fear of whether it's enough. A breeze touches your cheek again. It feels like a memory with no story attached, just the sensation of something kind. You let it pass through you, and it leaves behind a silence even deeper than before. In Zen, there's a story of a monk who asked his master, "What happens when the lantern goes out?" The master replied, "The night becomes more night." You understand now. You don't need more light to feel safe. You are no longer afraid of the dark. Because it does not hide you, it holds you. Your breath is quieter now, almost imperceptible. As if you've been drawn into the pause between worlds. Not asleep, not awake. Simply present. You don't name the state. You don't try to preserve it. You allow it to move as it will. And still you lie there, cradled by stone, blanketed by air, known by nothing and loved somehow by everything. You could rise, but there is no need. You could speak, but there is no urge. You've dropped beneath even the current of wanting. You are a still pond beneath the moon, reflecting nothing, disturbed by nothing, containing everything. Somewhere inside, something bows without moving, without thought. A soft surrender that does not feel like giving up, but like being welcomed home after a long, silent walk. And the silence welcomes you still. The silence deepens not as absence, but as intimacy. It presses gently against you, not to weigh you down, but to hold you closer. Everything outside you has quieted, and everything inside you has softened. Even the space between breaths feels like a sacred pause. You are no longer waiting for sleep. Sleep has already arrived, not as an event, but as a gradual erasing of effort. The body, the breath, the thoughts, each has laid itself down beside you, no longer asking to be noticed. There is no one left to manage them, and nothing left to manage. The world remains, but your grip on it has loosened so completely that you no longer know where the world ends and you begin. A faint scent of pine drifts through the air. You don't open your eyes. You don't reach for memory. You simply notice the scent and then let it go. It was never yours to keep. Nothing is. Another teaching drifts into your awareness. A monk once asked, "What is the essence of Zen?" The master raised his hand, pointed to a falling leaf, and said, "There, nothing explained, everything revealed. You feel that now in the falling away of your own thoughts, in the quiet, natural descent of all the noise you once believed you needed. There is no fear here, no striving, no need to be anyone. You are the leaf. You are the air. You are the pointing finger, and the moment it disappears, you rest now in the space before words, the place where nothing is missing, the place where nothing was ever added. The earth does not move, and neither do you, not because you are frozen, but because stillness is now your truest rhythm. And even if thoughts return, even if the mind stirs tomorrow, you know this place remains. Quiet, open, unbreakable. A space beneath all spaces. A silence beneath all sounds. It has no name. It has no form. But it is home. The stillness has taken root. It is not something you feel anymore, it is something you are. Even as a faint rustle stirs the leaves at the distance, you remain undisturbed. The sound passes over you like wind over a stone that has rested in the same place for centuries. There is no reaction, only acceptance. This is what it means to settle. Not to collapse, not to give in, but to return fully wordlessly to the ground of your being. The self you were trying to fix, understand, or improve has faded like breath on a mirror. And beneath it, something more enduring has emerged: silence without loneliness, presence without performance. You become aware of the weight of your limbs, not as heaviness, but as belonging. The way your body molds into the earth is not surrender, it is reunion. Somewhere nearby, a branch creaks under the weight of morning dew. You hear it clearly. Not as a disturbance, but as a reminder the world continues without your control. Trees lean, air shifts, water gathers. You don't need to intervene. You were never meant to. A story whispers through your quiet mind. A monk and his student walk beside a river. The student asks, "Master, when will I find peace?" The master says nothing. They walk in silence. Finally, the student asks again, more urgently, "Please tell me, how will I find peace?" The master stops, looks out at the water and says, "Do you hear that?" The student listens. A bird calls across the valley. The river flows over rocks. A breeze passes through bamboo leaves. "Yes," the student says softly. The master smiles and walks on. That is the teaching. No answer, only attention. You let it settle. Not as a lesson, but as a companion to your stillness. There is nowhere to go now. No next. No after. Only this long, soft moment stretching like a warm blanket across your breath. The chest rises. The chest falls. The world is still here. But the part of you that used to push against it has gone completely quiet. And in that quiet, something begins to glow. Not a light. Not a vision, just the soft, radiant knowing that everything is already okay. Not because it's fixed, not because you're certain, but because you've stopped needing certainty. You rest in this, not as a person, not as a name, but as stillness itself. Nothing stirs now, not in the body, not in the mind. You've reached the place where even subtle tension cannot follow. The breath continues, but it no longer feels like an action. It is simply what remains when all effort has gone. Like waves that move without needing to know why. You are not trying to fall asleep. You are not trying to let go. These things have already happened. Quietly, slowly, without announcement. And now all that's left is the hum of being. It moves through your bones, your skin, the space around you. You don't hear it. You don't see it. But it is there. The same hum that lives in trees, in stones, in stars that never sleep. It asks nothing of you but this: stay soft. Stay still. Let the world be as it is. A thin veil of mist rolls low across the clearing. It gathers not to obscure, but to bless. The trees wear it like robes. The ground receives it without resistance. And you lying here with eyes half closed, feel it pass over you like a memory you never needed to explain. In Zen, they say the most profound realization is this: things are just as they are. No enlightenment to chase, no mystery to solve. Just a deep bow to the moment. You bow now without movement. Something within you leans forward, not in seeking, but in reverence. For the night, for the silence, for the you that no longer needs to understand. Another breath. So quiet it barely arrives. So gentle it carries nothing but peace. You feel your pulse, but it is no longer just yours. It echoes with the rhythm of roots, rivers, wind, and sky. You belong to something vast now, something you do not need to name. There is no rush. There is no lack. There is no self to satisfy. You are not behind. You are not ahead. You are not outside of anything. You are this moment unbroken. And in this moment, even the desire to continue disappears. There is no more story, no more walking, no more searching, only stillness, only breath, only home. The breath continues steady and light, like the tide far from shore, its rhythm so ancient, it asks for no witness. You are not measuring time. Time has uncoiled itself and now rests beside you like a sleeping animal, quiet and harmless. Thought may still arise now and then, but it has softened. It does not pull. It does not spin. It moves like smoke through air, visible for a moment, then gone without trace. You do not follow. You do not push it away. You simply remain. The earth holds you, not as a weight, but as a memory being remembered. A Zen poem returns to you, though you do not know where you first heard it. Sitting quietly doing nothing, spring comes and the grass grows by itself. The lines do not teach. They breathe with you. You lie still beneath them as if under a blanket. No lesson, no goal, just the quiet truth of effortlessness. Somewhere above, a bird stirs in its nest, not fully awake, just a shift of feathers in the dark. You imagine the warmth it feels, the absence of fear in its small chest. You feel that too, now no worry, no flinching, no expectation. You are the space between all things, the pause between thought and breath, the silence between the bell and its fading echo. There is no awakening to await. You are already within it. No one needs to tell you that you've arrived. You're not arriving, you've simply stopped leaving. A still lake reflects the moon, not by trying, but by being still. You do the same. You reflect what is. You carry nothing. You resist nothing. You are nothing, and in that nothing, everything. And as the breath continues soft as mist, you know the most gentle truth of all. There is nothing more to become. The breath now moves without you. It rises and falls like mist over a field untouched, unobserved. You are not guiding it. You are not measuring it. It no longer belongs to a you. It belongs to stillness. And stillness asks for nothing. Your body is quiet. Not just on the outside, but deep in its core, where tension used to live like a whisper under the skin. That whisper is gone. There is no effort left to dissolve. You are weightless in a way that does not float, just present in every direction at once. A faint warmth begins to bloom in your chest. Not heat, not emotion. Just the soft presence of something deeply alive but completely at rest. It is what remains when all striving falls away. You hear no thoughts, and that too is a kind of music. You lie beneath the stars, though your eyes remain closed. You can feel them silent, ancient, watching not from above, but from within. The sky is no longer overhead. It is everywhere. It has folded into you like water into water. A final story rises slow and unformed like a dream you are not trying to remember. A student asks the master, "What is the way?" The master pauses and points to the ground. "This," he says, "is the way." The student frowns. But what is the teaching? The master closes his eyes. It is already beneath your feet. You smile without moving. You understand without knowing how. There is nothing more to hear. Nothing more to say. Not even silence is needed now because you've become part of it. The night wraps you in its last breath. The earth sighs and you sigh with it, not as a response, but as a return. And here in this final softness, you dissolve into the pause itself, not gone, not asleep, just resting in the quiet truth of being. No sound now feels separate. Even the smallest stir of wind, the tiniest shift of breath is part of you. There is no boundary to this rest, no end point, no arrival. Only the endless unfolding of peace that does not need to be named. You are not observing rest. You are rest. Not the kind that comes after exhaustion, nor the kind that prepares for effort. This is the original rest, the one that was always waiting beneath the noise, the plans, the seeking. It does not depend on sleep. It does not wait for the mind to quiet. It simply is. You lie within it like a single leaf floating motionless on still water. The leaf does not move. The water does not pull. Together they are stillness embodied. Somewhere the sky is lightning. Not enough to wake anything. Just the soft breath of morning beginning far away. You sense it without turning toward it. It does not pull you forward. You are not leaving the night. You are simply becoming more transparent to its silence. In the stories, monks speak of the mind that neither follows nor resists. You are that mind now. The thoughts come soft like fog, and they pass. You are not watching them. You are not caught in them. You are the space in which they dissolve. Another breath enters. It pauses. It leaves. You are the pause. You are the gap between one world and the next. The silence between syllables. The stillness between stars. You do not need to understand this. You do not need to hold on to it. The body is light now, the breath thinner than air. And the you that once carried all the questions, where has it gone? It has melted into the quiet. What remains is presence, soft, unmoving, whole. There is nothing more to wait for. The breath arrives and leaves like the tide brushing against a moonlit shore, not to shape it, not to claim it, just to exist with it. You are that shore now, and the tide asks no permission to come or go. It knows you will receive it always. Thought may still pass through now and then, but you do not name it. You do not trace its path. It rises like mist, then disappears into the same stillness from which it came. You are not beneath your thoughts. You are not behind them. You are simply untouched. This is not sleep as the world defines it. It is something deeper, quieter, more complete. A settling that begins not in the body, but in the space around it. A release not from tiredness, but from identity. You are no longer the one who needs to rest. You are the resting itself. A faint echo of memory brushes past something once held, once longed for. It arrives without pain, without sharpness. Just a glimmer like the reflection of moonlight on still water. You bow to it without lifting a hand. It passes and the water does not ripple. You are learning now the deepest Zen of all the Zen of not becoming. You are not being healed. You are not being transformed. You are not moving toward light or away from shadow. You are simply still, and that stillness is enough. The ground beneath you feels like it's breathing. The sky above you feels like it's listening. And in the space between you remain not hidden, not separate, not waiting. Another breath so soft, it feels like a whisper between worlds. And now you are everywhere. In the silence, in the air, in the pause after each word that never needs to be spoken. There is nothing more to do. The breath continues, but now it feels like part of the earth's rhythm, slow, deep, natural. Not yours alone, but shared. As if the entire world were inhaling and exhaling through you gently, without effort, without need. You are not falling asleep. You are dissolving into quiet. The kind of quiet that existed before you were born and will remain long after. It does not belong to anyone. It is not trying to teach you anything. It simply is. In this space, even the sense of I become soft. Not lost, just unimportant. Like a name whispered in a vast hall and forgotten by the time it reaches the far wall. No part of you feels separate now. The air, the body, the silence, each blends into the next, like ink in still water. Your skin no longer feels like a boundary. It is just a gentle suggestion. You are not contained. You are not enclosed. You are resting as the sky rests, vast, open, undisturbed. There is an old teaching. Before thought arises, there is clarity. Before name, there is knowing. Before self, there is peace. You are resting in that before. There are no more stories passing through, no more teachings to remember. Even the Zen tales have stepped back into the silence that birthed them. All that remains is presence so subtle, it cannot be touched, so steady, it cannot be shaken. A single bird sings somewhere far away. Not a cry, not a song, just one note. It enters the silence like a raindrop in a lake, then disappears. You do not chase the sound. You do not long for its return. You lie still. You breathe. You exist without asking how. You belong without needing to be claimed. This is the deep sleep of awareness itself, not unconscious but unburdened. And if no more words come, that too would be fine. For now you are the space that holds them. There is no center to return to because you have already arrived. You are not in a place, and yet everything around you feels familiar. The moss, the air, the dim sky above, they do not speak, but they recognize you. As if they've been waiting for you to stop moving long enough to notice they've always been here. And now you have. And now they exhale with you, another breath. It comes like the tide touching the shore and receding without concern, without a reason. This breath does not ask you to notice it, and yet you do. Somewhere within the stillness, you feel the subtle warmth of simply existing, not as a role, not as a thought, just as what you are beneath all doing. You remember another old story, simple, gentle, like the ones told by monks who laugh more than they speak. A young student asks, "What is the nature of the Buddha?" The master replies, "The pines whisper, the stream flows." The student waits, confused. The master smiles. "It has always whispered. You simply stopped listening. You have stopped too, not from exhaustion, not from surrender, but from peace. There is nothing more to seek. No state to reach, no thought to complete. What remains is breath. What remains is presence. What remains is the part of you that does not need to be anything other than still. You feel the weight of your body only in the gentlest way, like a shadow resting on the earth. You are not trapped in it. You are not lifting it. It simply is resting like everything else, asking for nothing, offering nothing but warmth. Even your name feels like something from long ago. You could recall it if you wanted to. But why would you? Here in this softness, you are nameless and whole, and the night does not mind. The stars have faded behind thin clouds, but their light still reaches you. Not with brilliance, but with memory. You don't need to see them. You feel their quiet endurance. They are still there. So are you, breathing, being, no longer separate from the silence that surrounds you. You rest in a place without edge, without weight, without time. There is no before here, no after, only this. A moment that does not pass because it has never begun. And within it, you have finally stopped being anything other than part of the quiet. The breath no longer moves through you, it moves as you. You are no longer the one who breathes. You are breath itself, subtle, complete, unnamed. Nothing calls your attention. Not because there is nothing to notice, but because everything is already understood. The trees, the wind, the low hum of the earth, they do not need your mind to witness them. They need only your stillness, and you have given it freely. There is a Zen koan that asks, without thinking of good or bad, right or wrong, who are you? You do not need to answer. You've become the question, and in becoming it, The need to resolve it dissolves. You shift slightly, but not out of discomfort. Just the body remembering it's part of a world that breathes. The motion is natural, like the soft turning of a leaf in a breeze. Effortless. Belonging. You feel the ground again, not as something beneath you, but as something inside you. There is no difference between lying on the earth and lying within it. You are not apart. You are not placed. You are grown slowly, patiently, from the same silence as stone and rain. No fear lingers. No longing waits. Even sleep is no longer something to fall into. It is something that has already risen around you like warm water. You are not falling asleep. You have become what sleep is when it forgets to dream. Still, silent, aware. Nothing more will arrive. Nothing more must leave. Only this breath. Only this being. Only this endless gentle now. There is no need to move forward. Where would you go when you are already resting in the center of stillness? Where would thoughts take you when you have stepped off the path of needing to know you are not floating? You are not anchored. You are simply here, clear, weightless, held. The breath is almost soundless now. It brushes in and out of the body like a breeze passing through an open window. Nothing stops it. Nothing pulls it. It comes, it goes, and with it everything unnecessary has gone too. The body feels distant, yet not lost. More like a candle just after being blown out, warm, quiet, present in a way that no longer draws attention. You are not trying to sleep. You are not trying to stay awake. You are not trying at all. That's the deepest kind of peace, the kind that does not require effort. The kind that doesn't arrive with a breakthrough, but with the vanishing of the need to break through anything. Another old story rises slowly like mist lifting from a field. A monk asked his teacher, "What is the final teaching?" The teacher looked up and said, "Nothing hidden." The monk waited. The teacher added, "Nothing revealed." You smile faintly inwardly. You understand. There is no final word, no curtain to lift. The silence you rest in now is the answer, and also the absence of questions. A single breath comes deeper than the rest. Not on purpose. Just something releasing even more. You notice your heartbeat barely. You notice the cool air on your skin light as silk. You notice the space around your thoughts endless. And in noticing, you let it all go again. No holding, no pushing, no becoming. You are not fading, you are merging. With stillness, with space. With the softness that asks for nothing and gives everything. Let this breath come. Let it go. Let all of it go. There is only this quiet, and you within it needing nothing at all. Now even the idea of continuing begins to dissolve. There is no path ahead, no journey behind, only this ever-present stillness unfolding inward. You are not progressing. You are not deepening. You are simply resting in the place where nothing ever moved to begin with. The breath is so light now it feels like being breathed by silence. Even the warmth in your chest no longer feels like yours. It belongs to the space you inhabit, the invisible field around you, which cradles everything without condition. There is no longer a need to think in words. No need to translate feeling into meaning. No need to name what you have become. You are not sleeping. You are not waking. You are beyond the line where those states separate. You are rest without boundary, a memory perhaps. From another life, perhaps from this one, drifts through you, sitting near water, watching ripples grow and vanish, touching the surface, and feeling that what you touched you back. You do not hold on to it. It was never meant to stay. In Zen, there is no destination. There is only this returning to what never left. You feel that now. Not as thought, but as presence. The stars, the earth, the trees, your body, they are not around you. They are not yours. They are you. Not as identity, as being. You don't need to feel it to know it. You don't need to know it to live it. You are already within it. You always were. And now there is only this, a breath, a pause, a stillness deeper than sleep, a letting go that asks nothing of you. You are not you anymore. You are the quiet that held you all along. There is nothing more to say. The breath slows, not by force, not by control, but because it has found its natural rhythm and it is almost still. Each inhale is a breeze through tall grass. Each exhale a falling leaf in the dark. Nothing needs to happen now. Nothing remains unfinished. Even silence begins to dissolve, not into noise, but into spaciousness. The kind that has no edges. The kind that accepts all things without judgment, without effort. You do not carry your thoughts anymore. They drift and you let them pass like birds too distant to name. You do not carry your name. You do not carry your story. You do not carry the weight of tomorrow. And in this letting go, there is no loss, only lightness, only peace. The body rests completely now, unguarded. The hands are open. The breath moves as slowly as the stars. You do not ask for sleep. You do not chase it. You are wrapped in something far older, far deeper than sleep. The stillness is total, but not empty. It is full of presence, soft and vast. And you are within it not as a guest, not as a seeker, but as part of its nature. There is no ending here. Only the gentle closing of a door that never needed to be opened. Only the quiet return to a home you never truly left. And if you're still awake, that's okay too. Some nights just lying still and breathing softly is enough to return home to yourself.